Welcome aboard, everybody, to this brand new episode of OG55 Live. We are doing a Disney Parks trip recon. We're talking about our trip to Disneyland Resort and George and Slimer's trip to the wonderful Walt Disney World Resort down in beautiful Central Florida. Up next on this episode of OG55 Live. Welcome aboard, everybody, to this episode of OG55 Live. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We have Matthew Murr, Mr. Seymour, Duck, Kiki and Luca, Kaylee, Tayo in the chat. We are going to have a fantastic show talking all about our trip to the Disneyland Resort and to the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. But before we dive into our festivities, I want to introduce my fantastic panel. We got the one, the only, the Italiano who is back. It's always good to have you back, sir.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be back on. And again, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it, feeling under the weather and everything, but I can't turn down an OG55 Live. Come on.
Come on. You got to
forget about it.
Forget about it. You can remind everybody at home where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. There we go. And down below, we got the one, the only Slimer.
And all these dollars got commas that come with commas behind them. And all my Slimers be slamming. And all my Slimers be slamming. And all my Slimers be slamming. And all my Slimers be slamming.
I had to drop it again. It's been a while, you know what I'm saying? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but now that George is back, that's the most appropriate time to do the Slimer drop. George, good to see you, bud. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Glad to be back on with all of you. It's I missed it. I mean, I was watching a lot of the shows that you guys were doing. You guys were killing it, but I was like, I'm sitting back thinking, man, I would love to just jump in there with that conversation. So I'm glad to be back. And I see that you getting that the little scruff there. The last time I saw you, you were clean shaven. Wow, it grows in more than mine does.
Yeah, well, you've inspired me.
Nice.
What was I saw you last weekend, right? Was it last weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the high T OG crew. You know what I'm saying? we all got the scruffies. Slimer, if you can remind us where you could find us or where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me right here on Orange Grove 55. You can find me on X at Slime Square 84.
Perfect. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Michael Ebba is in the house. Ebba, it is always fun having you on, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
OG, thank you so much for having me on, brother. I appreciate it. George, it is so awesome to see you back again. But yeah, you can find me on X or Twitter at Michael Ebba 1991, and then Instagram Michael Ebba.
Perfect. All right, here we go,
Thank
boys.
you, bro. Appreciate it.
Oh,
sorry. See, I'm already back and I'm already causing havoc.
You're all good. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to all who come to this happy place, welcome to Orange Grove 55.
There we go. I figure since we're going to start with our Disneyland wing of the trip, I figured we'll do a little Disneyland electrical parade, a little drop there. So George, you came down here to California. We also met our mutual friend Mindy down here as well, and the one and only Michael Ebba. So great time. But if you want to set the table, because I was with you guys for like a day and a half at the parks, I believe. But you obviously had a little more park time than I did. So if you want to set the table as to how everything got started, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so as OG had mentioned, we met up with our mutual friend Mindy, and we usually stay like off Disneyland property, unfortunately, because it's just so expensive. As much as I would love to stay on Disneyland property, $700-800 a night, not really in my. Oh,
Oh, someone's phone is buzzing. Oh, there you go.
Okay. I was like, oh, sorry, it's the IRS.
Okay. so you're saying $700 or $800 a night, just not for Disneyland.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great, good neighbor hotels around the Harbor Boulevard, Catella Avenue area that's around the Disneyland Resort. So we ended up finding a great hotel deal, staying off property, and so we our first night, because we arrived in kind of late. But we decided to do something very unique when we entered back into the Southern California area, is we didn't go to Disneyland right away. We did a couple special stops along the way. We went to go see Walt's Barn up by Griffith Park, which I've never got to experience before. So you get to see all that rich history of Walt's love for the trains and what have you, and all the memorabilia and all the stuff that was part of his history with his actual barn.
And if anybody at home hasn't been to that, I highly recommend it. It's really, what would you say, George? Maybe just a 3 or 4 hour kind of thing. It's not very big, but it's in there. I think it's over in Glendale, I believe.
Yes.
Not too far from like Forest Lawn, which we'll get to that in a second. But it's this cozy little spot. You got Walt's Barn, like you said, a lot of memorabilia. They got a train you can ride around the whole little area. You can buy great merchandise. Kiki and Luca, if you're in the chat, that green shirt that he was teasing me because I wore it twice in a row, the Walt Disney one, that was actually from the barn. They have really, really great merch there. Way better than the parks, actually. I
agree. Actually, it was a small little stand.
Yeah,
but yeah, their merch was like totally legit. Like,
yeah,
it was like real stuff.
Yeah, it was great. And they only do this barn like once a month, George?
Once a month. The last Sunday of each month.
Super good, super good stuff. And it was really fun. We stayed a couple hours there, and then continue. Sorry, sir.
No, you're good. So from there, we decided to go, as OG had mentioned, up to Forest Lawn Cemetery, because I have not yet seen. Which I don't think you have seen yet either, the final resting place of Mr. Walt Disney. And I tell you what, thankfully we had Mindy there because she had been there before. We wouldn't have known where we were going. I mean, that place is huge, but it's one of those places where, you know, a lot of times you get like that eerie feeling when you go through a cemetery or what have you, but you just get this tranquil peace when it comes to Forest Lawn for some reason. Like everything is just, you have this calm to it.
It's beautiful grounds, absolutely beautiful, and you go up the hill. You go up quite a ways, actually.
Do you remember the area, like what it's called? I know
it was like Freedom. It was like Freedom Courtyard, I believe, or something to that effect.
Courtyard. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I believe. Yeah. And so it's like up the hill.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like tucked away, like in a little garden area. And I tell you what, you could feel like the strength, the power of his presence there, because you have the memorial plaque, which has his name on it, his wife, his daughter, Sharon. There was one other person on there, but his other daughter, Diane, wasn't part there. I guess she was buried alongside her husband, Ron Miller. But it was Walt, his wife, Lillian, their daughter, Sharon, and one other person that area was their final resting place. So the three of us ended up purchasing a single rose, and we placed it in the garden to pay our respects. And I'm so glad we got to do that, because I don't think you can get to this day any closer to Walt than in that moment.
Yeah, it was interesting because he was cremated, and so what they did was there's like a little square little patch of grass and like roses and things like that, and then the plaque with the names are on the wall. So I guess he was, when he was cremated, he was scattered in this little area, right? But when you walk in that little area, I don't know if it's like psychological, because I know it's Walt Disney that's here, or what, but like when you walk in there, right, George, you can feel it, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's an energy in that space. Like it's absolutely wild. I highly recommend doing it. I mean, any Disney fan should at least do it once in your life. It's a pretty surreal experience. I was pretty taken aback by it.
Absolutely. And then after that, we went to Tam O'Shanter, which was one of Walt's favorite hangout spots. And even though it's an Irish themed restaurant, it kind of gives off this German architecture, sort of kind of how they use like for the German pavilion at Epcot. It kind of has that style. I don't know why it's an Irish restaurant with a German feel to it, but whatever floats your boat. But the food there was phenomenal. I got the prime rib, and I'm a stickler when it comes to a good prime rib. And I tell you what, that was actually the best prime rib I've ever had.
Yeah, you were saying that. It was really, really good. It looked fantastic. And then also you got a beer. And George, George has a pretty good tolerance. You know what I'm saying? George ain't no no little flower here. He can hold his alcohol, but with that one, maybe the waitress put a roofie in there or something, because you were hammered.
Yeah, I don't know. She put something in there because after just the one, I was like, everyone was my best friend that day. Yeah, that was really, really funny. So go ahead, continue. I'm sorry, sir. So after that, that's when we went back to. Then Mindy took us around. She showed me Walt and Roy's houses, where they used to live, and I really felt like a true tourist then, because I'm just like taking pictures of everything, because these are areas that I've never been to, nor that I ever thought that I would. So that first day was definitely centered on Walt, with his favorite hangout spot, where he lived, where his final resting place is, his barn, so it was a great way to kind of kick off the Disney part of the trip for sure. And then by the next day, that's when it was our first day going into Disneyland, where we ended up meeting up with this guy right down here.
Mr. Ebba.
Mr. Ebba.
Mr. Ebba. So it was myself, Ebba, George, and our friend Mindy. We met up. Ebba, if you want to take it from here, brother.
All right. Yeah. So just real quickly, so I actually woke up like at 5 a.m. and then I drove to the park because I was like, crap, it's gonna rain, right? So my idea was to beat the rain. That didn't happen because it was already raining by the time I left at like 5:30. So I got to the park like around 6:30 ish. Got the parking, went in. The rain wasn't too bad. The worst it was like in the Irvine area. But so got to the park, and then I went on Star Tours and Mr. Toad. But Mr. Toad was after I went to try Roger Rabbit, right? And I was in line, broke down, right? Literally, it was only like 50 people, and it broke down, and I was like, okay. And so then everybody left, but then the guy, the cast member, he gave me a fast pass for it. I was like, okay, sweet deal. So this time, right, I'm waiting for Mindy, George, and OG, right? Because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat these guys. Where are they at? And so then I walk over to go on Mr. Toad. That's after Mr. Toad, I just decided to go on Snow White. So while I'm in line, I'm DMing George, like, hey, because he's asking if I'm here or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. So it's like, okay, let's meet up. Like, we go meet up, and I see him. It was cool too because I see OG, Mindy, and I see George, and I'm like, George, and he's not hearing me, right? And then I finally go, George. He turns around, and I'm like this, and the George is like, hey, like that. so they we all say what's up, hug and everything. And then that was my first time meeting all three of them guys, and everybody in chat. These are really wonderful people. I'm telling you right now, OG, George, Mindy, they're awesome people. And then from there on, we went on to Thunder Mountain, and that was freaking awesome. Thunder Mountain in the rain, guys. It was so cool,
dude. It was fantastic.
And that was a lot of first times for me too, is just because that was actually my first time at Disneyland in the rain. I was never at Disneyland during where it was like, it wasn't, I wouldn't say like a torrential downpour, but I mean, it was a consistent, rainy day. But yeah, I don't think I was actually in Southern California when it rained. I think it was actually my first time.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I think Disneyland is a lot of fun in the rain, actually. I mean,
I will say the crowds are very low.
Yeah.
When in the rain. You don't get that in Florida, because in Florida you just get that 24/7. So that's that's like an everyday thing for them. They're like, that's not going to stop us.
Yeah, it's a typical Tuesday any day of the year, pretty much, Now,
Right.
Kaylee's asking us, what characters did you meet up on this trip, and what was your favorite character interaction?
So for the Disneyland trip, I don't think any characters were out at the time, right? Because it was raining. Because so usually when it rains, usually there's no vehicles for the most part. But our day was kind of light rain. But I don't remember seeing any characters. Maybe a couple like under like the like shaded areas. But we didn't meet any characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I was with you guys, there was no character. I know Mindy and I met band concert Mickey later on in that trip. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday.
How did you meet him? Where do you find him? That's interesting.
He was in his house in Toontown.
Oh,
Because
okay.
you can it's like where it's like roulette. You don't know which Mickey you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to get Steamboat Willie, if you're going to get band concert Mickey or Sorcerer Mickey. But I'm glad I got band concert Mickey because I never met Mickey in that format before. The only thing that kind of drives me nuts with the Steamboat Willie is he has a black and white body but a colored face. Like that kind of like throws me off with it being
A little weird. I haven't met either one of them, actually. I don't really go into Mickey's house, honestly, that often. Like, it's been years, like way before the pandemic, I think, even.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
But so continue for like the Disneyland trip, right? Everybody in chat, I will say I have not nerded out this much with anybody ever in my life because growing up, I was always like kind of like a loner because all my friends didn't like what I liked, right? They weren't fascinated with Disney. Nobody cared. Anytime you mentioned Disneyland, they're like, Six Flags is better. Okay, no, it's not. But anyways, whatever. Like, so I never had anybody to like, to nerd out with. So the entire trip, dude, we're just talking and laughing, cracking jokes, talk about Disney. It was so awesome. And then that night, OG, you and Mindy had left, right? Because I know you had to go back to work. And then me and George stayed with me till closing. So that was super cool. And then we went on Space Mountain, Matterhorn, and George. There was one more, right? There was Mr. Toad also, right?
Mr. Toad. Yeah. We did. And we did Mr. Toad, Space Mountain, Matterhorn. I thought there was one more. Did we do 4 or was it 3?
Oh, Star Tours twice.
Star Tours twice. That was it.
Yes.
Dude, you guys did a lot of rides in a short amount of time. That's a lot. Because I think Mindy and I left at like 10 o'clock?
No, it was like 8:30.
Oh, it's 8:30. Oh, see, yeah.
Well, that is your 10 o'clock, bro.
Pretty much. See, Ebba, that's my secret. You asked me, wait, OG, you wake up so early. That's my secret.
Yeah.
I'm in bed by like 9:15,
Yeah, because you asked me, OG, you're like, well, he was like, because he was thinking of staying, because when he knew like I was gonna maybe stick around, and he said, "Well, how long are you gonna stay till?" I was like, "I'm probably just gonna close it out." And he's like, "Oh no, that's not gonna work for me."
No, I'm not closing it out. Absolutely not.
But the reason why we ended up doing Star Tours twice, is oh my gosh, this cast member, I swear, God bless her heart, she had to be a newbie. She had to just be like earning her ears or something because we were playing magical standing points. Like we were just like all over the place. She's like, no, stand on number 5. No, come on over to number 6. Wait, who's over here? Like we were like, she was like switching us all over. So by the time we get in, there's like not enough seats. So we're standing there with our thumbs in our pockets. And she's like, oh, did I miscount? I'm like, you think? And then so there was 2 empty seats. So Mike ended up going like to the far back. And then there was an empty seat in the front. So we rode it, but we didn't ride it together. So afterwards, I'm finicky like that. I'm like, can we go back on it? Because I would like to actually ride it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I swear we went back and we went to the different location and they put us on the spot and then someone else came up and said, no, actually, we're going to move you over here. And I thought, oh, dear God, not again.
Shit. That's so funny.
And then, OG, not in that, but like we pretty much got the first of the same half version of the ride, dude.
Oh,
yeah, we did.
Man.
And it was funny because after we got that first part of the ride, George was like, I swear to God, if we get the same thing, dude.
That is so funny, dude. Oh, that is so funny. Now, I gotta ask you guys, what's your favorite Star Tours location? Your all-time favorite?
Oh, you mean like for the ride or just in general?
Yeah, for the ride. Like, what scenes are your favorite?
I would say the part with like the well, I would say Naboo's really cool just because I think it has the best kind of like 3D effect towards the end,
Yeah, with
right?
the thing coming through the windshield. And...
Exactly. And also just pretty much like any scene where like where you're in a dogfight, really. So,
yeah, 100%. What about you, Slimer? What's your favorite Star Tours scene?
Probably Naboo.
Yeah.
When you go into water and the sea monsters are attacking your ship, and then when you crash land into the air hangar and that thing goes through the screen, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When I was young, before they started coming out with all these new versions, it was always the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So can I just say something first with Star Tours? Is that as much as I like, like our new Adventures Continue, what I loved about the original attraction was the story seemed to flow better, especially with the locations, right? This, like, you're going from like OG trilogy to like prequel trilogy, like it's all kind of just all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They time jump. It's kind of wild. What about you, George? What's your favorite Star Tours scene? I gotta agree with these guys. I like the Naboo thing because I like when you come out of the water too. You kind of like hydroplane a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I'd have to say Naboo is like my number one. I love how you get like that, as Michael's mentioned, like that 3D effect where you have like that sea creature that grabs onto you. It shifts your ship around, and then you get the electricity that zaps him from R2 is really cool. I do love Hoth. Hoth is cool. And then when Slimer mentioned about like anytime like you have like a type of a battle scene, the one I haven't seen in a very long time is when you come across Boba Fett. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Yeah, I think that one's like the most rare one I get as well.
Which is funny because that used to be like a common like denominator. Like anytime you would go on there, you would always get that. And then as they added new scenes, it kind of just fell to the wayside.
Yeah.
You know what's one that you never see anymore either is the Death Star trench run.
It's true.
That is true.
That's true. You don't see that anymore either. Exactly. Mr. Seymour Duck is in the house. He says, "We missed you, George."
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Glad to be back. And I did happen to see the second star that said, "Welcome back, George." So I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And there's Mr. Ebba. Shout out to George.
Sorry, I spelled their name wrong. I'm fixing it now. I just noticed. I was like, "What the hell?"
And we got Kaylee with 2 E's. Kaylee says, "So plain black T-shirt." Yeah, it's plain black T-shirt season, Kaylee. Plain black T-shirt. Now, real quick before black on black, and then before we continue on with our trip, Teo was asking, "Is that a Roosevelt shirt, George?"
Oh, actually it is not. It does look like it though. It is very deceiving. I actually ended up getting this on the Disney cruise. Our last trip in July, when me and this guy, along with Mindy, we went on the Disney Wish, and ended up finding this in one of the gift shops. And I can't turn down a good button short sleeve shirt, showcase this Italiano chest hair,
You know what I'm saying? You got ladies fainting in the chat, you're bringing too much sexy to the show, George. You're bringing too much sexy. So our Disneyland wing was amazing. And then, Ebba, you got this thing from the Red Rose Tavern. Was that like a chicken sandwich that you got, or like a hamburger?
No, it was some like fat beefy patty, dude. Like I was making jokes to these guys, like this. He looked like it was like from like the Mondo Burger from Good Burger, dude. It was this like thick. I was like, what the hell is this, dude? I couldn't eat the whole thing. Plus, I had that in the tater tots as well, dude. I was like, dude, I literally only ate half of it, dude. I was like, I can't do this. Like it was so huge.
This sandwich was thicker. This sandwich was so thick, dude. Like it was crazy. It was like Megan Thee Stallion burger, It was like thick, bro. It was super thick, but
big boy.
Yeah, it was big, but it looked really good though, actually. Did you guys think it was a smart move for them though to retheme that from Pinocchio to Beauty and the Beast?
To be honest, I liked it when it was Pinocchio more so.
Yeah, man. What do you got?
I think by them doing it as the Red Rose Tavern, I think it's if they had more of a connection to Beauty and the Beast, like where there's something that can kind of tie with it, I think it would make more sense. I think that's where I agree with Michael. I think it would fit more of the Pinocchio style because of the attractions that are surrounded in that area, which Pinocchio is one of them. I just feel like, and that's unfortunate because I love Beauty and the Beast and it needs to be showcased more, but I feel like just kind of throwing it as kind of like a Beauty and the Beast sticker on a quick service.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit that area.
I feel you. Kaylee continues here. Before I move to Walt Disney World, we have a Mr. Toad question. She says, how many times did you go on Mr. Toad? I think I went on it once.
So since I was there before you guys, I went on it twice. Once in the morning and then later in the night with George.
Okay. So then George, you went on it like twice then probably, right? Twice-ish.
Altogether, maybe 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like one of the all-time greats too. Yeah, I mean, I love Mr. Toad. I'm surprised it's still around, to be honest with you. I really am. It's a miracle that it is.
Well, I think it should stay. Do not take that thing away. And when we're on it, we noticed that like the one fire effect and like the hell scene, right? It wasn't working. And we're driving by it. I was like, hey George, look, it's not working. It's broken. Fire's broken.
Now we're really in hell.
Yeah, exactly.
So, George, what letter grades? Because we were actually doing this when we were in Walt Disney World. We were giving every park a letter grade. So go ahead and tell us what letter grade you give Disneyland and what letter grade you give DCA.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, I have to say, Disneyland Park never ceases to fall short with anything, honestly. So Disneyland definitely gets an A+ for me. DCA, because I went to DCA with Mindy later on in that trip. I have to say a B+. I'd have to say for DCA because it was still fun. It was still decent, but again, they just need more stuff. Yeah. They just need more stuff. I mean, they have some big heavy hitters over there with Radiator Springs Racers, with Mission Breakout, with the Incredicoaster, but they need more stuff to kind of fill in the day because once you're done, it's like, okay, what more do you do? Then we go back over to Disneyland. You know,
they do. They need to fill that park in, and that's why I think with Disneyland Forward, that DCA has to be the priority. They can't start with Disneyland. That's ridiculous if they do. I mean, Disneyland has gotten so much in the past few years between Galaxy's Edge and the new Toontown with Mickey and Minnie's, all that stuff. It's time for DCA to get an e-ticket.
But before we move on, I know I'm going completely like off the subject matter of the live, but I wanted to ask you fellas, do you feel like that? Do you think that's the sole purpose as to why the possibility of Avatar going into DCA? Do you think that's more just of Disney, even though that Disney knows it would be a much better fit at Disneyland Park, but they're like, hey, you know what? We need more IP. We need more meat and potatoes, so to speak, of for DCA. Let's just throw it in here for the hell of it. Yeah,
see, I have an issue with that. If that's the mentality, I have a big issue with that because it's like, just because you have a problem doesn't mean that anything is a solution, right? So just because we have the problem of DCA needs more doesn't mean we just take any old IP and throw it in, you know?
Right.
To me, that's an issue. Like, I get it, Avatar is a popular franchise, but it doesn't fit into that park.
No,
you
it
know?
doesn't. No.
So there's a million other IP they could choose. I mean, we talked about many times. Latin culture would be perfect in DCA. You can pull from Coco. I'm not even going to be super particular. You want to do Encanto, which I think is Colombia, fine. Anything South America, we can put in DCA. I think that's fine. I mean, there's plenty of big IP you can do. I even suggested Zootopia, but maybe in a Los Angeles version of that animal world, that would be fine. I mean, there's a lot you can work with. To sit there and kind of shoehorn and cram Avatar in DCA, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense,
Right.
What do you think,
right? Yeah, so here's the thing, right? Because I know there's this whole debate on whether, is it still the California theme, right? Because I know there's that kind of like issue going on, right? Like, is Disney moving away from the California theme? So if they're going to keep the California theme, right, they're going to have to use an IP like I think Coco or Encanto would work because like a big part of the West Coast was Mexico at some point, right? So
Right.
so you can use that. Or you find like something else that you can hopefully tie into some California, whether it's San Francisco or LA. I was hoping for like San Diego or something, right? But definitely you would just don't find anything and cram it in there just because it's popular. Find something that people do like, but then that can also work within the established California theme.
Yeah, no, well said, well said. What do you think, Slimer? What do you think about this whole Avatar going into DCA stuff?
No, I don't like it. I mean, it just conflicts with everything else that they have going on over there. And then, like you said, introducing it just for the sake of, better guest experience, better, guest attendance in DCA. Nah, that's not a good reason. I mean, for Disney, that's especially not a good reason. Like, I can forgive Six Flags or Busch Gardens or SeaWorld doing something like that. But for Disney to just put something in DCA just because, they want to increase the attendance and they just want to expand the park capacity. No, that's not. Sorry, do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Well said, well said. And I'm very forgiving with this theme stuff. Like I've even justified things like Pixar Pier. It's a seaside pier. So what? You use the Disney IP for a seaside pier. Piers are very California. I said Route 66, Cars Land. That fits California very much with the car culture, the whole thing. I can forgive that. But Pandora is like you can't justify that really in any way, and it just doesn't work. And when you have all this other IP you can pull from, like the Latin America stuff that you could put in a DCA that would work much better, and they're very popular franchises too. It's not like these things are like Coco is massive, like the oh man, I forgot the name of it, but the holiday Feliz Navidad stuff over at DCA is extremely popular. I mean, the crowds are insane for that. I mean, there's such a market for it in that park. I mean, it's a shame they're not building a permanent kind of spot for all that stuff,
Yeah,
I don't know. They're just dropping the ball. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Disney needs to address DCA way before anything for Disneyland. Disneyland can wait. Now I will say Tomorrowland needs work, but outside of that. Bad Thought Studio from our buddy Tones here says, George, was there any sriracha used on the trip?
No, not any sriracha in particular. I mean, trying to think of how to say this. I'm
purposely not helping you so that way I can just watch you drown a little bit.
No sriracha during the trip, or at least the Disneyland portion.
There we go. And then he continues with, is that background copyright? It probably is the Peter Pan behind George, but it's so small that I don't think the Disney lawyers will come for us. But you never know; they might.
Yeah, they might.
But we're ready if they do.
Yeah, we have a few share words for them if we do.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and continue now. Now, Slimer, you were part of the Walt Disney World wing of the trip. You and the Italiano. If you want to go ahead and set the table for that one, and we'll kind of go from there, brother.
Yeah, man. So I actually met George at All Star Music. As soon as I made eye contact with him, I gestured, "Hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom." So like that was our initial meeting.
Yes.
So then I use the bathroom. I come out. We catch the bus over to the Magic Kingdom. That was our first day there. Oh, it was funny. So we're waiting in line for the bus, and there's this little 4-year-old girl. She's going to town in her nose. I mean, she's really getting it. And then she like gets it, and then she goes, and she eats it, and then she does it. And then I'm like, oh, and then I go, hey, George. I was like, look at that little girl there. She's eating her boogers.
Oh, God.
So she's just going to town, having a booger buffet, while we're waiting in line for the bus.
Oh, my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, really set the pace for the day.
Yeah.
When I was in elementary school, and I don't even know why I remember this, but I do. Some things stick with you, There was a girl in my class, and I'm talking like this was a long time ago. Okay, like I'm in my 30s, so this is a long time ago. But this is like elementary school, maybe like 3rd grade, maybe. There was a girl. I'm not going to say her last name, but her name was Lyra. I'll say that much. And she was known for that, dude. That was like her brand. You know what I'm saying? That's what she did. She would eat her burgers. It was a thing. So yeah.
Hell yeah. Do you guys have a nickname for her?
We had a whole song for her, but in order for me to sing,
Oh my god!
but in order for me to sing the song, I'd give her last name. I don't want to do that.
Okay, all right. We'll have to do it. That'll be part of the Patreon video.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
she's probably the cast member that kept fucking us over on Star Tours.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
It's like whatever she rates her boogers on a 1 to 10, that's the number she puts you on.
That's great. That's great.
Oh my god.
That's fantastic. Or she picks her nose, and however many boogers land on her fingertip is what gate number you are. Fantastic.
Awesome.
So continue.
So we got the Magic Kingdom a little bit after rope drop, not right away. We hit up Space Mountain, had a good time. We rode Tron pretty much the ride right up. No, we didn't ride Tron until much later. Yeah, we actually didn't ride Tron until much later in the day. We stayed past the fireworks. We actually didn't watch the fireworks. We actually opted to walk around and check out the Country Bear Jamboree line, because that's specifically the reason we went to Magic Kingdom that day, was because it was the last day for Country Bear Jamboree. We actually saw quite a few vloggers. We saw Mr. Cheesy Puff. We saw Tom Corliss, Adam the Woo. I'm sure there was more there. Everybody was there that day. The show was a fantastic show. Everybody was really into it, especially when very specific songs came on. There was a rowdy crowd. It was great. We loved it. It was fantastic.
So there was a lot. There was like you could tell it. Now, was this energy? Because I've never seen the Bears. Unfortunately. Okay. Oh, here, Kaylee, your boy's up here. Big Al.
Yeah, when Big Al came on, people lost their shit. It was great.
Yeah, when Big Al came on, like they didn't even have to see him. All they heard was like the twang of the strings, and like everyone just like went nuts.
Yeah,
and that's the energy that you want to have.
Yeah,
with these shows, and it's just a shame that we only get that kind of energy when they know that the show's going to end. It's like, we had it the whole entire time. It's like,
that's what I was going to ask you guys, because I was like, okay, I never seen it before. So is this typical of the energy, or is it amped up because it's the last show?
Yeah, it was definitely amped up because of the last show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because like in the summer, like let's say you go in July, you're going to get a bunch of tourists in there. Half of them probably don't even speak English, so they really can't even sing along with the song. But everybody in Country Bear Jamboree that day is a Disney fan, and most likely an Orlando local. But that was great. And then once they announced the last show, people started getting in line right around, I believe, 7:00. And brother, that line went from the middle of Frontierland all the way to the gift shop in Pirates of the Caribbean.
That was crazy. I've never seen a line for a show like Country Bear Jamboree. I never would have thought that line. I knew people would be lining up, but I didn't think it was going to be like that. And then inside the Country Bear Hall, it was already jam-packed. They couldn't get any more people in the building.
That's insane.
And they literally had to tape off. So as like people were waiting outside, it was kind of a zigzag that they had to have it taped off, that they had so many people standing in each line to see if they could even, and they didn't even have a final show.
No.
They said there was a lot of technical issues, which I don't know necessarily how much of it is true. I don't know if they did it just for the notion because there was so many people and they knew that they couldn't get them all in, so they thought, you know what, let's just kind of make everybody happy by letting nobody in for the final show. Not do a show, let them go in and just kind of take a tour of the stage and the area, hand out posters, and that's what they did.
I will have to say, I mean, look, this is good news all around, right? Because it shows that the Bears are still very popular. which is good news because they're coming back. This isn't an attraction that's like going to go away forever. So it's like wasted enthusiasm, so to speak, right? Like people seem to love the bears, right? Mm-hmm. So it's cool. Like they're going to come back and they're going to now they're going to sing what, like Disney songs in kind of like a bluegrass style or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that's cool. You know, it basically, it kind of modernizes it a little bit. And look, I know a lot of the hardcore Disney fans, a lot of people that watch our show. I mean, obviously, if you're watching our show, you're pretty much a hardcore Disney person, you know? I get it with the IP kind of, you know, integration into the show bothers some fans, but the normies love it. I mean, the soccer mom they're gonna take their kids to see that, to see Big Al sing "Let It Go." I mean, it's gonna be, it's gonna be,
I can't wait to see the newer renditions of the bears themselves, because they're gonna be brand new audio animatronics, but it's gonna be of the same bears and everything, except for the only one that'll have some that be altered is Liver Lips, that will become Romeo, which I don't have a problem with them changing his name. I just wish they would have given him a name that kind of fits like that bluegrass country bumpkin type of thing. Right. Romeo just seems to
90s R&B.
Yeah.
Was there a reason? Because was there a reason they're changing the name? Did they ever say what the reason was?
From what I understand, Liver Lips is a term that was used in the Deep South.
Oh, like derogatory, like
time.
Got it. Okay, I can understand that, absolutely. So so this show, they're going to reimagine it. When's it coming back? Have we heard? Do we have a date yet, or is it just kind of a?
I don't think they have a date, but I think it's like within. Is it within the year of 2024?
Yeah, it's going to come back this year. Fall is the season that they projected for it to reopen.
Now, when it comes back, due to the popularity of how this thing was closing down, now reimagined, reopening, do you think it's going to be virtual queue only?
Or... Yeah, we discussed that, and that's definitely a possibility. There's, I think Tiana's for sure is going to be the next virtual queue attraction at the Magic Kingdom. And thank God, too, because the virtual queue for Tron, it's been around for quite some time now. And they just need to go ahead and open that. And what's going on here? The virtual queue for Tron. Well, we have a special guest, everybody. Audrey Hepburn just walked into the room.
Audrey Hepburn.
But where was I at? Oh, yeah. So, Tron has been a virtual queue ride for quite some time now. And they just need to go ahead and open the floodgates and start letting people line up in that ride, simply because the area has the space for really long lines. It's a people eater. So they just need to go and open it. Tiana's is going to be extremely popular for at least a year. You know, they're going to have to give everybody enough time to schedule time out of their year, PTO, to go check out Tiana's Bayou Adventure. But yeah, I think that's going to be the next virtual queue. I don't think Country Bears is going to be virtual queue. Okay. I don't think so. It might, though. I mean,
do you think virtual queues in general are useful?
I was just about to ask that.
I think virtual queues are useful, but I don't think that they're using virtual queues the way that I would use them. I would have virtual queues as an option for every single ride. That way, if you're a particular, very particular with your planning throughout the day, and let's say you're one of those families that keep a tight schedule, and you're not just there winging it, that'd be a nice way for people to keep their daily, what do you call it? Your itinerary, very organized. But no, I don't think the virtual queue, the way that it's being utilized now, is very popular, and I don't think that it's very useful.
Because here's my issue with the virtual queues, especially when it now is going to be proclaiming to Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
You have a ride that existed in the park where people just lined up in the normal line and said, hey, you know what? I'll wait X amount of time.
Right.
You are now taking that same ride, and now you are putting a virtual queue for which, when you apply for the virtual queue,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know exactly when your callback is going to be. Now, mind you, this is also going to be a water ride,
Mm-hmm.
and it is going to be opened in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really even knowing how much of the wet factor, this ride is going to...
Family show.
Family show. Okay.
I was kidding.
Of how much it's going to be, because with the original Splash Mountain, especially with Disneyland, like those logs would fill up, like where
Right.
you would get soaked.
Yeah.
So for someone that has it in their mind to say, you know what, I want to go on this ride early during the day when the sun is out, where I could still dry and stay warm. But then you're going to join a virtual queue, and they say, you know what, your boarding group's not getting called till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
That's true.
And then they're going to be like, oh, shit, I don't want to get wet at that time.
That's a great point. That's a great point. That's a great point. Go ahead, Summer. I do apologize, sir.
Well, I was just going to say, thanks. I appreciate it, but I was just going to say that might be one of the reasons that they don't put in a virtual queue. And in addition to that, the fact that it's already a 30-plus-year-old attraction, that's just getting a reskin. So it might not be virtual queued. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I have to give it to Provost Park Pass. Shout out to him. With one of his latest videos, where he talks about like with the virtual queues and everything, and that's one of his main concerns, is that he just wishes and hopes that when Tiana opens, he just wants Disney to go back to the mindset that if I want to stand in line for 8 hours, that's my prerogative to say, you know what, I don't mind waiting eight hours in line. I know what I'm getting into.
Right.
So it's like he would rather have the notion of having the choice to say, well, at least I know that I'm still able to get on the ride. Because then there's also the notion where if you try to join the virtual queue and you don't get it, guess what? You're not riding it.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, right? Is like that for locals, right? That's kind of okay because you can always come back. Like OG, like me and you, we can always go back to Disneyland, right? It's just in our backyard. But from someone from Colorado, right? They come out here, they try to get virtual queue, and their entire time they can't get one. Well, now they're shit out of luck. So now they can't experience it until they come back for another, like after another 2 years or so. So virtual queues have always kind of annoyed me. And then with Splash Mountain, I'm not sure how it is at Walt Disney World for you guys, but does your Splash Mountain have a single rider line?
Pretty much every ride over here has a single rider line.
Okay, so because I'm curious as to whether if they do, or even if they don't have a virtual queue, but the ride comes back, right? Are they going to have a single rider line? Because sometimes when they close rides and bring them back, they get rid of the single rider line for a little while, like Space Mountain, for example.
That's true.
Right, to get more people to the line, sure.
That's true. Now Cliffix, you're a friend of the channel, and Cliffix actually has a fantastic YouTube channel. Make sure you check him out on YouTube. Amazing content over there. But he's saying here, and this is in sarcasm, so I want to make it clear to preface when I'm joking, when I'm reading this. He says, I just hope the new show, we talk about Country Bears, is mild and safe with no more edgy and sassy jokes. Let's keep it perfectly safe, folks. So that's a concern for a lot of fans, right? Because now I haven't seen the original show. It has a little edge to it, George.
Yeah, it definitely has some risque moments. A lot of adult innuendos that only adults will know. It'll go right past the kids, but
I think those adult innuendos are not going to see the light of day ever again. If I'm a betting man,
right?
Unfortunately, so Cliffix, I mean, I think we're all on the same page. I mean, I like that stuff too. I like that kind of like, and actually, that's one of the things I loved actually about like Animaniacs and like those kind of shows, like in the ¡90s, is that they used to throw in those like adult jokes that like the kids wouldn't get, but the adults understood it. I like that stuff, but. Well, they're not going to keep that in. That's probably why they're doing this change, because of that stuff. Go ahead, Ebba. I'm sorry, brother.
No, sorry, man. I was going to say, and that like what really annoys me the most about not Disney, but like all these companies, that they're now so afraid of like any type of like soccer mom backlash or whatever that they're going to play everything super safe. So it's like when you watch the super old school cartoons like Animaniacs or even further back, compare that to now. Dude, like now these cartoons are like just goober gosh. Like I don't even know what this stuff is, dude. Like, and so back then you had more like more adult humor in there that adults wouldn't understand, kids wouldn't, but adults would. So they both could really get enjoyment from both sides.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Goober Gosh, we're gonna make sure we trademark that. That's a great one. I love that. I love that. The Dodd Adventures is in the house today. Oh, look, I caught a live stream again. Now I want to say Dodd Adventures. We've been friends for a long time. Him and his wife, they started their channel like around almost exactly the same time I started OG55.
Nice.
And so we subscribed to each other, and man, Dodd, it's awesome to see you in the chat. Absolutely, brother. Florentine here says, great show, beard-tastic. So fortunate to see it twice. So we have a few beards. I have a little 5 o'clock, not too much. But you got a little hair, a little facial hair today, not too much.
It's hard to tell because it's so bright in here. But
Yeah.
honestly, dude, I shave because I can't grow like hair like these two gentlemen here. Like these guys grow amazing facial hair. Mine's all patchy and shit, dude. So I gotta like just shave it.
It's crazy. Yeah, I can grow out pretty good. Like if I waited like a few days.
Well, you had that scruff going on when we met up with Ebba. Like,
yeah,
you had that 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I can grow up pretty fast. I can grow up pretty fast. And gentlemen, we have the one, the only, maybe is in the house. Yo Orange fam. And when maybe is in the house, we play the maybe drop.
Cause I'm that girl that drive you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe.
It is always good to see you, maybe. And she follows up with, I'm winning that pop quiz. You're not catching me off guard, Italiano. You're not going to get maybe off guard today, Italiano.
No, they're all one. Stay alert, because you never know. You never know what I have in store. You never know.
Exactly. So the Dodd Adventures here continues. Bring back paper fast passes where if you don't use them, you can create Disney magic and give them to another guest. I miss doing this so much at Disneyland. Actually, that was a really nice element to the paper ones, where if you were leaving, you can give your passes to another family or something, you know?
Yeah, I've had people a few times give me their fast passes. We're walking by and people are like, "Hey, we're not gonna use these. You guys want them?" Sure, we'll take them. Yeah, definitely, right? But this is what I miss about the old Fast Pass system, at least regarding for Disneyland's version, because I know that Walt Disney World had the Fast Pass Plus, but at least for Disneyland, right? It's like it was fair game for everybody. You had Max Pass, but that was optional. You didn't need Max Pass. Everybody could get the free Fast Pass papers. Everybody had all equal opportunity, to have fun with the Fast Pass and get in line for the attractions all day long. But now you have this Genie Plus crap, and I don't know why they're utilizing this for like, come on, guys, like, what are you doing?
Tell us how you really feel, Mike.
Okay, fuck Genie Plus, all right.
That's great, fantastic. Yeah, no, it's crazy. A lot of people agree with you, and including Kaylee. She says here, yes, I agree. Paper fast passes were a much better process, and it didn't affect the standby line as bad. So it's a thing. It absolutely is a thing. And she's also continuing here saying, nice Cheeto shirt, Ebba.
Oh, wait to see the pajamas.
Oh yeah. Show her the jammies, bro. You gotta show her the jammies.
Okay, so here's my hot Cheeto Chester pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Dude, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. But next time we meet at the parks, brother, I'm expecting you to rock those.
All right, OG, you know what? I'm gonna wear these, bro. You gotta bring the Crocs.
Oh, I'll wear them. I'll wear them. Absolutely. Oh, dude, Crocs are my. I love Crocs. And it's so funny too because like I never thought I'd be a Crocs person. I'm like, oh man, I'm not. Oh man, a Crocs. I got a pair and it changed my life, dude.
I'm just saying, my brother came over from Virginia. Was it during Christmas? And he's like, "Hey, do you want these Croc sandals?" I was like, "I don't want that shit." So I put them on, and man, they're amazing. They're my favorite sandals of all time, and they don't seem like they're gonna bust on you either. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. It's weird too because they don't look like they'd be comfortable.
Yeah.
But then you put them on, dude. It's like, oh man, these are amazing.
So that's the thing, right? Is that what makes them so comfortable? Is it like just the design, the way that they're made, that makes it so comfortable for pretty much everybody across the board, or like how does that work?
It just, I can't even really explain like the ergonomics of it all, but it's just like they just really work because it's like a shoe, like you have full protection of like a shoe, but it's like a slip-on, like kind of like a sandal. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. So like, hey, you know what? Man, I got to run to the store. Like it's perfect. You put the Crocs on, you go. You know what I'm saying? So you have like shoes on. You're not wearing like flip-flops or anything. It's just like that perfect kind of in-between thing. And you don't have to worry about like tying them and untying them. And I'm telling you, Michael, it's a game changer, bro.
I don't know, man. I fucking hate those things, dude.
The only reason why I have an issue with them is because I have like bursitis issues and everything, so I have to wear certain kind of footwear. That's why I like my Skechers slips.
Yeah,
it's like you could just, they have different styles of them. Like the 3 pair that I brought on this trip are 3 different styles. I have like the pair that are like a dress shoe, but it was a slip on, and then I have like my sports sneaker one that I had, and then I had like my dressy kind of like sit in front of the fireplace with a pipe sort of thing.
With a pipe. That's great, dude. Maybe it's so funny. She goes, yes, OG needs a matching Dorito fit, dude.
Right?
I'm gonna have to look into that.
We're just slowly gonna turn into potato chip bags.
Right.
Exactly. Good. Oh man, that'd be so freaking good.
No, but dude, George, sorry, would you, George?
Yeah,
tell everybody in the audience like how badass those boots that I liked that you were wearing at the park on Disneyland.
Yeah,
dude, those things are awesome.
Yeah, those are actually one of the pair. Like those are a Skechers slips. Yeah, because Michael just like kept on like looking at it. He was like, those shoes are like really dope. And I was like, yeah, they're Skechers slip-on. So even though that they're deceiving, where it's like they look like a full-on dress shoe, but yeah, it was actually a pair that Mindy got for me for Christmas, because I go through shoes like Tic Tacs,
dude. And there's a story to those shoes, isn't there, George? I mean, it's so funny because it makes it sound dirty, but it really isn't. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Wait.
Okay.
Is it at the hotel?
Yeah. The
Where?
axe.
The axe. Yeah. So. So at the hotel we were staying at, I don't know how it ended up where I had my Axe body wash that I had, and this bottle, I swear, has always given me problems because I always bring it, but it always seems to open. And it was in the suitcase in my duffel. The little lid popped up, and it gushed all Axe body wash inside the shoe. Like it didn't go anywhere else. It perfectly went inside the shoe.
Yeah. And this guy put water in there, and then he has it upside down on the heater, trying to dry it out.
It was like every time I kept on adding water to it, the whole shoe would suds up. And it was like, oh my God, I was like spending like hours trying to get all the soap out. Luckily it did. The shoe, I was able to keep the shoe maintained. But actually, what really saved it out of everything was OG's hair dryer, because that thing honestly is like a gigawatt away from a freaking power plant.
It's gotta be, dude. It's gotta be. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I tell you. Mike here says Florida's Splash never had a single rider line. It says Tokyo and California's did. Not sure why Florida Splash was left out of the single rider party. George, are you aware of why that is the case? I'm not really aware of why.
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, Florida's never did. I don't know why they never added a single rider line, because they have single rider for Everest. They have it for Test Track. But yeah, for Splash Mountain, I don't know why they never considered it, especially since it's a ride that, as Mike had mentioned, Tokyo and California has it, so
Right.
why, I don't know, like what depicts for Disney to make the decision or not of why, what would make the single rider line more efficient than others.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. One more question, one more comment, and then we're going to continue with the trip report. Kaylee with 2 E's says here, you got to check out the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. I've been there many times since it's close to me, and it's so interesting. It's a must do for sure. Kaylee, you are absolutely correct. I mean, the museum, I went there for the first time in April. It's been almost a year now. It blew my mind. It's incredible in there. It's gorgeous. It's interactive. And it takes you basically through the story of Walt Disney's life. And then I'm getting goosebumps even talking about, oh my God, dude. It takes you the story of like Walt Disney's life, and the end room will like tear you apart. Okay. It's like,
that's what a lot of people were saying. Like it's very emotional, like to say the least. Like, I mean, it could pull at your heartstrings. They said, especially the final room.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing. It's such a cool experience. I mean, everyone, if you're a Disney fan, it's like it's a bucket list thing. You have to absolutely do it, and it's beautiful. Like the building and the grounds that it's on is so pretty. And when you go, they have all these like food trucks outside, so you can get like street tacos or whatever, and you can go and sit on the grass and eat, putting the park back in theme park, as they say over at Universal, right? You can sit on the grass and have food and kick it. Then you go into the museum. It's a cool experience. Definitely check it out. Actually, George, when you go, we should definitely do a show on it. Have you gentlemen, Slimer and Ebba, have you gone to the museum before?
No, I haven't.
All right.
Yeah, we definitely should do a show, because I definitely want to, eventually, I do want to see it. It's always been part of my Disney bucket list. I just haven't really found not that I couldn't really find the time, but just because I had so many things scheduled and planned with certain trips that I was never able to add that into the schedule. But I think, honestly, one of these upcoming trips, I really want to make it my business to go up there and check it out for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic experience. It's really great. Mr. Matthew Murr, friend of the channel. We love Mr. Matthew Murr. We're going to have Matthew Murr all the way from the UK. Matthew is going to be on the channel very soon. We're going to talk a little Bob Iger with Matthew. But he says here, I'm going to have to take off now. It's getting late where I am. He's in the UK, but I will catch up tomorrow, and I can't wait to be back on the show this weekend. Absolutely, Matthew. We're looking forward to your comeback on the OG55 channel. It'd be pretty awesome. Kaylee continues, the worst is Everest in the rain. The one was painful when I was on it because the rain was intense. Yeah, I know. Some of these rides in the rain, it's like basically it gives you like a facial. It's pretty intense, It's pretty intense. Okay, so before I take the next a few comments and questions, let's continue on with the trip report. Now, this is from George. If you want to set the let me see here. Give me 1 second, everybody. George, if you want to kind of set the table, I can kind of do my thing over here. Then we'll go from there. There you go.
Okay, right. So this is actually some B-roll footage that I actually took when I was at Epcot. For the Journey of Water inspired by Moana. And I was never in there before. I've never experienced it, but this is the one thing going back to Epcot that I was very curious about. And I have to say, for this just being a walkthrough attraction, it was very immersive. You have the music playing in the background. You have different water stations everywhere. They have like 2 different paths. You could stick to the dry pathway or the the wet pathway. That's basically what they call it, where if you want to get wet, you can. They have a lot of interactive play with water, where if you touch the water, it makes music. You can make the water kind of obey to your command, so to speak, like this one right here. It's sensory by touch, and I actually add this with it. It's like yeah, I got the hand gesture going. I mean, my fingers are magic, so
yeah.
Fantastic.
There it is. There goes George. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a lot of it's a lot of different things, and as I said, it's a decent walkthrough.
Yeah.
But my favorite, I believe, she'll be coming. Oh, well, this is the jumping water, where they added this effect before at Disney, but I think just adding it into Moana, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, you guys had this in Epcot, the leaping fountains, or you wasn't it over there by was it over by Journey to Imagination, or where were the leaping fountains at Epcot before?
I believe it was,
or Interventions, maybe. I
think
don't know.
it was over by. I think it was over by Interventions. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is actually around the location of where World Celebration is now.
Okay,
is that right, Slimer? Is it around that area?
So yeah, the leaping water is still over by the Figment Pavilion.
There it is.
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay. Oh, and I had one more. I had one more video of that, and it was of the Tafiti. Yeah, there she is.
Oh, nice.
So George, real quick. So how does it look like at night? Because right now it looks really beautiful. So how did you see it at nighttime?
So unfortunately, I didn't get to make it over there for the nighttime, which I was actually very upset and disappointed that I didn't. That's when I started feeling under the weather, and the last final day kind of messed up my schedule. But I have something to look forward to head back over there. But I've been told that if you actually enjoyed it in the daytime, nighttime it amplifies it by 100.
Yeah, it's really cool at night.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts overall, Slimer, on this addition to Epcot? I think you've been a few times now, right?
Yeah, I've been to the Moana attraction a couple of times, and like I stated before, it's the capstone for World Nature, and it ties in the Land Pavilion and the Sea Pavilion very nicely. It's great. It has no business being as good as it is for a walkthrough attraction. Like, it really doesn't. I believe I had sent you guys some pictures when I first went over there of how crowded it was around Tafiti. It's a massive photo opportunity. It's probably one of the best in the entire Walt Disney World. But no, I love it. And then at night, it's phenomenal. It's fantastic. It has no business being that good. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, and people complain like, oh, well, what does that have to do with the theme? But the thing is like the area is no longer Future World, right? So the theme has changed. So yeah, if it was still Future World, I can understand a Moana walkthrough like this would make zero sense, but it's not Future World anymore. It's World Celebration. So it's a completely different situation. Go ahead,
like,
George.
I'll still take it for what it is. As I said, I think it's a great addition to Epcot. I still think the overall aesthetics of that area would look phenomenal in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, sure.
But as I said, I'll still take it for Epcot. It's a nice addition to the park.
Is it World Celebration or World Nature that this is part of?
World Nature.
World Nature. I do apologize. Yeah. I misspoke. Yeah. World Nature.
Yeah. But kind of speaking on that, I wanted to touch upon this because as Slimer had mentioned before, we were kind of doing like day for day, and we were kind of grading like how the park was, not actually just as the park itself, but how the park was during that particular day. And after Magic Kingdom, Slimer and I did Hollywood Studios, and I actually ended up finding myself, for some reason, for this particular trip, I've only been to Magic Kingdom with Slimer just that one day. And after the fact, when he left, I just did like 4.5 hours of Animal Kingdom. Majority of my time was actually over at Epcot and Hollywood Studios. And I would say more recently, a lot of my my grading for the Disney World theme parks kind of changed. I feel like after experiencing Moana and World Celebration and already, enjoying Cosmic Rewind, it's my favorite ride on property at Epcot, and, the classics with Spaceship Earth and Living with the Land and what have you, that Epcot became my number one.
Really?
For the Walt Disney World parks, yeah.
Epcot's my number one too.
Yeah. And for right now, as much as Animal Kingdom is aesthetically pleasing to me, it very much is. It is its own unique type of park. Right now, Hollywood Studios even has one up on Animal Kingdom for me.
Oh, that's a ballsy statement, George.
Yeah.
So-
I'm in the same boat. I prefer Hollywood Studio. I barely ever go to Animal Kingdom, and if I go over there, it's usually a quick dip. You know, I hit Everest. I go.
Jeez, if
walk
I
through
had a
Pan-
quarter for every time I said that.
I hit Everest. I go through Pandora. You know, maybe I'll go check out the animals and see what's new with them. And then I'm out. You know, usually it's a 3 or 4 hour run through. But Hollywood Studios, I can stay there all day. There's something about Hollywood Studios, man. They've tweaked it just right. It's really in its prime. I don't think that to be Hollywood Studios right now is the equivalent to like where Universal Studios was in 1996, 1997. Like if they didn't change any of the rides in there and left everything the same, I wouldn't be upset. Now we did notice that there was some issues, and George and I actually, I mean, we can go real deep into some of the conversations we had regarding theming issues, ride issues, ideas, because we were just the whole time we were there, we were just throwing stuff back and forth, and we came to a lot of the same conclusions. I'll go back to Magic Kingdom. So me and George gave Magic Kingdom a C. We gave Hollywood Studios an A. We also had Lightning Lane the entire time. So what's really cool about the Lightning Lane, I never do Lightning Lane. I always, I stand in line and, it is what it is. I usually never wait more than 30 minutes. Like 20, 30 minutes is tops, is the top amount of wait. The top, that's the most I'm going to wait. Unless it's something that I really, really want to ride. I'd be willing to wait 15 minutes for a Cosmic Rewind or something like that. But what's great about the Lightning Lane is, and just being able to do it all day, was it gave us a purer experience. What I mean by that is your experience isn't contaminated with fatigue from standing, the boredom of waiting in line, and all these things do affect the overall experience. So we had to have, we had a really, like I said, a pure experience. We were able to clearly gauge the totality of the day more accurately, I believe. And Magic Kingdom, we both gave it a C. That park definitely that park's got some problems. Let's put it that way. The age is there. Like you can feel the age of the Magic Kingdom when compared to Hollywood Studios, and now even when compared to Epcot, even though Epcot is also an old park. The updates to Epcot have really brought it into the 2020s. And and Magic Kingdom hasn't gone the same level of treatment. Tomorrowland was looking pretty raggedy. The People Mover actually broke down at one point. The Carousel of Progress has that baby diaper smell. There's no music in Space Mountain. Magic Kingdom, it kind of hurts, and and when you go there and experience it, it's really obvious why they're updating a lot of rides and why the lands are getting a lot of TLC, because they need to refresh these attractions for the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that was the park when I was there in July that Magic Kingdom just didn't hit for me at all, and it's like maybe because we have like Disneyland, which is like the GOAT in terms of castle parks. It's so stacked with so much, and it just. I don't know what it was. When I went to Magic Kingdom, I felt nothing except for when I went on People Mover and Carousel of Progress. Everything outside of that was kind of like, it's weird. The park kind of goes through all the similar beats of a Disneyland, but it
Seven Dwarfs. You enjoyed?
Yeah. Seven Dwarfs was amazing. I love that ride. But like, it kind of goes through all the same beats, but like, it just never feels the same. And I can't really explain why that is. But you're right though. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is a banger. An absolute banger.
So I have a question with back to the whole Moana attraction, right?
Sure.
So you know how we have the whole Pandora like experience thing coming, right? So do you think this is what, if they do that, this is what that would be like?
God, I hope not. It fits well with Moana. I don't know. I don't think James Cameron would be completely satisfied with something like that.
Yeah, and here's my issue with that. If they do that, right? Because Moana is a nice addition. It's a small addition, though, right?
Yeah.
If Bob Iger, he announced that Avatar experience at the quarterly earnings call a year ago. Okay, I mean this is a quarterly earnings call. You're announcing this Avatar experience, and then for it to ultimately be a kind of walkthrough, kind of smaller little water feature. that's PR malpractice. Like, you hyped this thing up for over a year and you announced it at an earnings call in front of all these investors, and that's what it is. And that's why I'm bullish on it. Well, it has to be something big. Why would he announce it at this earnings call? Now, Disney has been crapping the bed with PR, though. Hey, I'm not going to dismiss anything. It's possible it's going to be something like that because, hey, weirder things have happened, But from a PR standpoint, if that's what they're planning, if that's what Iger and Daddy Josh is planning to do after they announce this thing and they've hyped it for over a year, I'm telling you, that's going to be a disaster for them. An absolute disaster for them.
I agree.
They can't do that. I mean, that would be terrible. I mean, we'll see, though. We'll see. Now, George, you did meet somebody else over there over in Florida, if I'm not mistaken.
I did.
I think. Yeah, who's this guy? Can you explain who we're looking at?
Yeah, so I kind of just bumped into him just out of osmosis, and I just randomly walked up to him and said, "Hey, you want to hang out for a bit?" And he went like, "Yeah, why not?" It's like,
There you go.
No, this is Jack from DSNY Newscast. We were in contact throughout the week, and we were trying to come up with a good date and time to meet up with his schedule, with my schedule, with Slimer's schedule. Unfortunately, the day that Jack could have came to the parks, that unfortunately Slimer had to go back home for work. And so I do wish that Slimer was able to join us at that night, but it was a great night. We had we walked around the park, we chit chatted, gave a lot of in-depth info, his take on things of how the parks are going, where he thinks moving forward, what does it look like, and what have you. And what a great park actually to meet someone like Jack at Epcot, and we were there from he showed up around like 4:30, 5 o'clock, so it was still daylight. So we were there for a good several hours, and I thought, how about we take a selfie like right in front of Spaceship Earth with the beacons of light and everything. So
that's awesome.
But Jack
is
a really cool cat. He's really fun to hang out with, and he's very funny. Like when he gets in like his mood, like he got the chops, he got the jokes.
Yeah, we've done a couple videos now with Jack on our channel on OG55, and we're planning on doing more with him, but we've really gotten to know him over the past few months, and he's a really good guy. Like you said, George, he's a funny guy. And so that's really cool. You got to meet him and got to hang out with him for a little bit. That's awesome.
And it was just kind of surreal because it was like, despite that his caliber is like way beyond someone like me, with his audience and his channel and how far he came. But I mean, he never threw off that notion that he is like that typical type of vlogger where it's like, my shit don't stink, so to speak. Right. He comes down to the same level as you as a human being, where you could just have a decent, normal, civilized conversation and what have you. And he's a very down to earth type of person. So I definitely appreciate that from him.
And even when we were walking by the Country Bear Jamboree line and we saw Adam and Tom, we said, "Hey guys," and they were like, "Hey, what's up?" Very casually, totally normal people. Hey, these are just people that enjoy theme parks just like us, you know what I mean? They just have 200,000 subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. So you say Adam, was that Adam the Woo is who you saw?
Yeah, we saw Adam the Woo and Tom Crow. They were actually,
and they were behind us, like when we were walking out of the Country Bear Jamboree, because they actually attended the same show that we did. And I mean, it was a massive amount of people walking out of the hall. So by the time we actually got outside, we turned around because they were right behind us, but they must have went the opposite way through Adventureland. Then that's when they came back later on in the night when they got in line for the final show of Country Bears. And that's when we ended up calling them and waved to them.
So there were quite a few content creators out there. So you had Adam the Woo, you had Tom Corliss from WDWNT.
Mr. Cheesy Pop was
Mr. Cheesy Pop.
We saw him. He was coming out of Tron
right.
When we were waiting for our boarding crew to be called.
And that's a unique find to see Cheesy Pop over there because he's a Disneyland person,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Cheesy Pop in the summer of 2019, around the time that Galaxy's Edge opened. I was walking through the little marketplace, and my friend was like, "Hey, isn't that the guy you watch on YouTube?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it is. It's Mr. Cheesy Pop. What's up, dude?" It was great. He's a really, really nice guy. Like Jack, down to earth dude. If you ever see him at the parks, you say hi to him. He's like really friendly. So, actually, speaking of vloggers, Ebba and I, we were walking right in front of Pirates, right?
Yeah. So me and you were walking in front of George and Mindy, and we're walking past Pirates, and all of a sudden, because I'm like next to you, right, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, Fresh Baked!" I look to the left, and he's right there holding his camera, and then it was funny because what happened was later that day, like in the middle of the day, we all went to downtown Disney. We had like a drink, so at that point, Fresh Baked, he had uploaded his video for the day, right? And they're like, "Oh, let's see if we can find ourselves." He cut us out.
Dang it! Because we walked right by. We're like, "Fresh Baked."
Yeah, it was like we're like literally like 2 feet away from him.
Can you imagine how many times Dave probably hears that on any day that he goes over there, man?
Every day, all day,
Dude, on every video I watch, "Hey, Fresh Baked! Hey, Fresh Baked!" Constantly.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But you know what's cool about Dave though, and this is I respect this a lot about Dave, is that he, like when he goes to the parks and he's filming and doing this thing, and people are coming up to him saying hi, you can tell he genuinely enjoys it. Like he's having a ball. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's awesome. That's really, really cool.
Tim Tracker's the same way. I've bumped into him a couple of times, and he's like he loves that that's his job. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't complain at all.
What I
He's like,
actually find
I'm getting paid to be in a theme park.
What I actually find quite interesting is a lot of these vloggers are very normal, down to earth people when it comes to the fans, but when it comes to each other, they're like that's when like the claws come out.
Drama mama. Yeah, no, I get it. And another gentleman I met actually was and you have too, George. Paging Mr. Morrow.
Yes.
Paging Mr. Morrow. Really, really friendly dude.
Yes.
You've met him a few times though, George. I've only met him. Actually, funny story. I actually ran into him in the Club 33 bathroom. Believe it or not, he was in there because my sister is a member, so we were there eating or whatever. And I came out, went to the bathroom, and he was in there washing his hands. I'm like, "Dude, Paging Mr. Morrow, what's up, man?" So we were in the bathroom together. And then, so cool. But George met him. Like, when did you meet him? Like a few years ago.
I met him. Yeah, I met him at the expo, and then I met up with him again. He was about to go in for his reservation at the Blue Bayou.
Yeah.
We were eating at Cafe Orleans at the time, and he passed by, and I was in the middle of for the waitress taking my order, and I just got up and I just like chased after him while she was in the middle of taking my order.
You got the napkin still in your shirt, climbing over the railings. Oh, geez. That's awesome.
And then sorry, OG, for everybody in chat, if you want to look this up, because I showed OG and George while we were there. I actually met Katie and Spencer from Best Life. And if you go to their to the YouTube and look up their video when they last rode Splash Mountain before it closed, I'm like in the video for like a couple of seconds, and like they catch me saying hi to them in the part of Fantasyland. So if you want, if you want to see me there, I'm like in that little clip.
No, I can vouch for Ebba on this. We were at the bar over at downtown Disney, and we were going through the YouTube video, and there he was. Yeah. Ebba was like,
rocking his hoodie.
Right? It was good. It was good.
But I actually want to go back really quick to Hollywood Studios, because both I wanted to mention this.
Sure.
Because that day in particular, Slimer and I were trying to figure out stuff that either one of us had never experienced before. And he actually, one of the first things during the day, he took me to see the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy, which I never got to experience in person. I was always one of those people like to say, okay, like this thing is like useless and like it's a waste of space and what have you. And it's a short, simple little show, but I tell you what, the audio animatronic of Lightning McQueen is spot on. It's like better than the one that they use in Radiator Springs Racers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like this thing is legit. Like this. If you see this this car, it's phenomenal, and it's a cute little show. And honestly, I ended up becoming a believer of that show. A believer, not a believer.
So are you you're a groupie now? You're a Cars groupie?
Yeah, I would definitely do that again. I would actually now speaking of that, because he and I were kind of talking about like what to do with that area, because we were talking about the animation courtyard, of how everything was like kind of all miscombobulated. They're going to get the Little Mermaid show back. They have the Star Wars launch bay. You have the Disney Junior live dance party thing. It's like it's all over the place. So Slimer actually, after we saw the show, he actually came up with I think an interesting take on what to do with the area back by where Rock and Roller Coaster is. And I'll pass it over to you, bro. If you wanted to give your take on
Elaborate.
The problem with Hollywood Studios is that there's only one thrill attraction for kids. Like really, like if we're talking about the roller coaster style of attraction, which is Slinky Dog Dash. The problem with that is it doesn't matter what other attractions are in Hollywood Studios. Slinky Dog Dash. Hey, he's on the other side now. Slinky Dog Dash always has a 2-hour wait, like always. I mean,
Wow.
When we got there, when we were there, it was 130 minutes. I went, 2 weeks ago, and it was 140 minutes, and it's always like this. And it's not fair to guess. What that tells me is that there aren't enough roller coasters for kids in Hollywood Studios, and the best way to remedy that problem is to put in a Cars roller coaster themed to Daytona 500. In place of Rock and Roller Coaster. And so what I would do, because that Lightning McQueen attraction is so good, the AA is just so spot on.
Right.
I would just go ahead and dedicate that entire area to like a sister Cars land. So it wouldn't look like Radiator Spring Racers. It would be themed to Daytona 500, seeing that the Daytona 500 is here in Florida. But that's what I would do, and I would utilize the same screen technology featured in Tron and Cosmic Rewind, so that way when you're on the roller coaster, you're in between what looks like other cars that you're racing, and that again that would do two things. It would improve the theme. You'd put in a Disney IP. It'd make it more family friendly, and it would alleviate a lot of the wait time that Slinky Dog Dash continuously sees, basically from the time from rope drop to close. That line is always 70 plus minutes. It's kind of ridiculous.
That's a great idea though. That's a fantastic idea. And actually I really like Slinky Dog, but I was really surprised at, and maybe I'm just kind of like with coasters, I'm like I don't know, but like for me that was a little more intense than I was expecting. Like it really moves, right?
It's funny you mentioned that, because after George and I got off of it, I don't even think we were off the ride yet. I said to George, I said, hot take, this is better than Tron. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I agree. It's better than Tron, generally speaking. But, and we're talking about just the coaster experience.
Yeah.
But Tron, man, you ride in that first row in Tron. Holy shit, dude.
Man. I was in the first seat. Like I've never done Tron in the first seat before. And Slimer was, like he was determined. He was like, we got to get like in the front seat so you could experience it. Damn, like I thought it was intense like before, like just sitting wherever. It puts a whole perspective, because you can actually see what is actually going on when you enter into the show building.
Well, and I would imagine too that the G-force or whatever it is hits you harder because when you have people in front of you, they're going to break the wind a little bit, Mm-hmm. But when you're in the front row, you're the first one out the gate.
Which I am like so pissed off, because Slimer and I had this epic photo pose. Like we were just leaning down in, and we were just like this. We were literally like this, and they never sent me the picture.
Oh,
that's lame.
They never did. I never got the video of it because they usually give you like a little video snapshot of it. They didn't send me the photo. I don't know why it didn't. They probably didn't. They were probably like, "Look at these two smart asses. I can get
Right. Is it possible that like someone did something offensive, like middle finger or something, and they deleted the photo?
Possibly.
I don't know.
Well, no, because when you get the photo, they're individual, so it's just going to be you and whoever's sitting next to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
and,
is weird.
and I got all the photos from everything else, but for some reason, Tron's never came through.
Strange.
I want a refund.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, Kaylee here. This is for you, Eva. This is right for you.
Man.
She says, Eva, did you ever figure out where in Alice you can feel the hell for Mr. Toad?
Kaylee, thank you so much for asking. And no, I have not figured that out yet. And I couldn't when we went on Monday because it was raining. So the teacups were closed. Alice was closed. So to your question, no, I have not. But don't worry, I will find the answer one of these days, and I will let you know.
There we go. There we go. And maybe here says that she meeting offhand Disney was really cool. He's super nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. He seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah,
a lot
of people that have said that when they met him, he's a really cool cat.
Yeah, and honestly, like all these like vlogger personalities or influencers or whatever that I've personally met, they've all been really, really down to earth and friendly.
Yeah.
I haven't really had a bad experience with any of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's very cool.
But I just have to say now, I got to experience something new at Hollywood Studios that I'd never done before. But Mr. Slimer over here also did. I wanted him so badly, and OG, you could vouch for this. I wanted him to experience the Frozen sing-along celebration.
Right.
And I said to him, I said, you have to experience this. I said, it's completely different, whether you've seen the movie, whether you like the movie, you think it's like just geared towards children. And I said, the master of ceremonies, I said, they have some risque. We were just talking about like the Country Bear Jamboree, but this show has some adult innuendos in it as well, and it has a lot of comedy in it. And I said, I just would like, if we have the time, for you to actually see it, and I would love to get your take on it. And I'll pass it over to you, Slimer, for your thoughts on that.
So here's a little fun fact about me. So I've never seen the Frozen movies. I sat down to try it once. I really didn't give it a serious try. But I think I turned it off, wasn't into it within the first 15 minutes or so. And George is like, well, let's go look at he's like, we're walking by it, and he's like, let's go check out the Frozen show. And right before that, we had said, hey, let's try new things while we're here. So I had to, I had to be consistent with what I said previously. And I didn't know what to expect. He didn't break it down to me. He didn't say what it was about or anything like that. He says, it's a really good show. I was like, all right, cool. And even if it wasn't good, I would still have done it anyways because, we were trying new things. And man, what a phenomenal show! That's one of my favorite shows in all of Walt Disney World now. If anybody ever wants to go do that show, and I'm in Hollywood Studios, I'm 100% down. And I'm going to drag people that I know that haven't seen that show into it just because it's so good. And upon further reflection, if the Little Mermaid ride is anywhere near that good or within the same scope of comedic style and presentation, I'm for that. I'm there for that because Disney World needs more of those kinds of. I mean, anywhere needs more of those kinds of shows. But it's great. Like it's very, very Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
I like to see more live performances like that. That's why I'm not against them putting new live performances in Hollywood. I think that they need more, in fact.
Right.
I like to see one in Hollywood in Galaxy's Edge. I was pointing out to George, there's actually a landing platform, and it's the same in yours as well. But there's a landing platform in the Millennium Falcon area, and why that's not utilized for like a nighttime lightsaber battle with special effects in the background is beyond me.
It's funny. George took me to that Frozen show as well.
Okay,
and
cool.
I went into it with very typical stage show. Like we had the Frozen thing out here at DCA, right? Like Hyperion, whatever. So I'm like, okay, typical stage show. you're right though. This show hits, as Kaylee would say, our friend Kaylee. It's a banger. It hits different. It really does. And the very end, when they have Let It Go and they got the snow and the whole thing, it's just like the energy. It's a fantastic show.
The energy is insane, dude. It's like Disney on Ice level energy, dude. It's I mean, it's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is great. It really is great.
I think that's one thing that that our parks over here, OG, need is more shows. Like we are really lacking in the show department, definitely.
Really?
Oh
yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
Big time. We don't really have anything right now. I don't think is anything playing in the Hyperion right now. The last thing that was in there was that the Captain America
Rogers
the musical.
Yeah,
and
they said it's supposed to come back. I don't know if they made an official date announcement. I thought they said sometime in the spring that Rogers is coming back.
Yeah. I mean, and you didn't really love that from what I understand, right, George?
I liked it. There were aspects of it that I really, really liked. There were aspects that I didn't really care for. A lot of the music I enjoyed, which was done brilliantly by Christopher Lenertz. I mean, shout out to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anything he touches with music, I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Amazing. Oh, and Kaylee, real quick. Yeah, I'm actually looking for my Big Al shirt. I actually wanted to wear it today, and I couldn't find it. So I gotta look for it. It will make an appearance for sure. I promise you that. She continues. Did y'all like the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown? Now that was a banger.
I think that was the best rendition.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that one. I haven't seen it. I haven't even watched it on YouTube. I should probably check that out. So it's like it's a vacation one, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen that on YouTube. I'll watch it.
It's great.
Oh, check it out. She continues with Justice for Liberalists. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then Lord Jonathan, question. Will you stay away from talking about Disney versus government now, or will you move into middle of the road? No, I mean, I'm not going to stay away from it. The thing is, we haven't really reported on the DeSantis, Disney Reedy Creek stuff, just because it's a lot of legal back and forth. So we basically figure we'll wait till it is said and done, and then we can go ahead and discuss the situation. Because right now, for example, the federal case got dismissed, right, out of federal court. Disney's, First Amendment case got tossed out. Well, they're going to appeal it. So now they're going to appeal, see what happens with that. It's a back and forth legal wise, right? So it's it's kind of pointless to sit there and kind of do a play-by-play on every move. There's not much there until I'd rather just wait until everything's done. And then we can say, okay, now let's assess the situation. This is what Disney has to work with going forward. And then,
And I do think, honestly, that's what Disney's even doing within themselves when it comes to, I feel anyways, as far as with the capital spendings in the parks themselves. I think specifically for Walt Disney World, I think they're just kind of waiting in the wings just to kind of see where all this legality stuff is heading, so that they can kind of know which direction to go of what to spend, how to spend it, where to spend it, what are they doing? Because there was some circulation where a lot of people were talking about that Disney is going to be announcing a fifth gate. And I understand that people want to have that mentality of saying, okay, because it's beckoning the call to Universal's Epic Universe and what have you. But I'm sorry, Disney World does not need a fifth gate. Disneyland needs a third gate. But while Disney World, what they need is just the existing parks just need work. They need expansion.
The issue with Disney World, there's a couple issues with Disney World getting a fifth gate. Number one is like you said, George, you already have multiple parks that need work, right? You need to add more to Animal Kingdom. Hollywood Studios needs help. Magic Kingdom needs a lot of help. So what you do is when you have a fifth gate now, you spread it even thinner. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem. I've said it many times. Disney should not get into this game of reacting to Universal. I know fans want them to do that. They should not do that. Disney needs to do what's best for Disney. Right now, another park is not good for Disney. Another park right now is great for Universal because Universal is in market share mode. So they're trying to grow their market share. So it makes sense for Universal. It doesn't make sense for Disney. So just reacting like tit for tat, that doesn't serve Disney at all. Disney, what they should do is just do what they were going to do, or do what Daddy Josh is promising with all his maybe and blue sky stuff, and give us the Beyond Big Thunder and give us the Villains Land and things like that. Flesh out the parks you have now, and you're fine. You don't need to respond to Universal with another park, you know? And I think another park, actually, to be quite honest with you, I think it would hurt Disney World more than it would help it right now. I think it would be a detriment. What do you think, Slimer?
Well, yeah, and not only that, but you're going to be asking guests for a lot now, because now you're asking them to pay, you're asking them to buy a 5th ticket for their entire family. You know what I mean? 5 parks now. These families are going to have to try to plan around, and it's like, how much more do these guests going to have to spend when they go on a Walt Disney World vacation? I just don't think that that's fair to them. That's like if they just keep on building deluxe resorts and they don't build any, value resorts.
They'll be cannibalizing their own parks, because everyone and their grandmother is going to be going to the so-called 5th gate, and they're already, not getting enough people in Animal Kingdom, so it's like, so what does that do for that poor park?
Yeah, they're already cannibalizing Animal Kingdom. I mean, look at the wait times in AK compared to Hollywood Studios and Epcot Center specifically. Nothing will cannibalize Magic Kingdom. Like, anybody plans a Disney trip, that's the park they're going to go to, and then they're going to use process of elimination to determine which are the ones that they don't feel are a necessary part of their Walt Disney World trip. And Animal Kingdom right now, it doesn't have anything very enticing, which is why Hollywood Studios and Epcot and MK are always extremely busy.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Ebba? I mean, Disney World 5th gate, is it something that they should think about or maybe put on the back burner?
So I agree with you guys, and the comment from Jim T here below as well. It's because I have the same issue with the with our parks right now, right? We have Disneyland and California Adventure, right? Build up those parks first, or like DCA, before you add another park, right? So fluff up your current parks before you build another park. And I think that, like what you said, OG, they don't need to be reacting and responding to Universal. What they need to do is Disney needs to compete with themselves. Make your brand, your product better. People will come once you do that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Exactly right here, Jim T. Disney needs to get back to being Disney. Exactly.
Compete with yourself.
Yep.
Disney needs to do Disney. And when you get into this game of like, okay, Universal doing this, we have to respond. You're chasing now. Disney's number one. Okay, you don't want to be chasing Universal. Why? It doesn't make any sense. You want to be the leader in the industry, so they need to do what works for them. And just trying to respond, trying to like out press release Universal basically is what that would be. Like basically like, oh, okay, well they have Epic, so now we have to announce another one. It doesn't work realistically on the ground. It's going to hurt the resort. So I don't want the fancy headline, the big headline for the new park. It sounds good. I get it. It's a response, but it's not the right response. Let's get it's like the DCA thing, right? We talked about it where it's like DCA needs stuff. DCA needs e-tickets. DCA needs an expansion. But that doesn't mean that any idea is good for DCA. Like Avatar doesn't work for that park. Just because DCA needs something doesn't mean that everything is a good fit for it, Same with the 5th gate. Maybe Disney needs to do something right now with Walt Disney World, but that doesn't mean that any addition is a good addition. And a 5th gate right now is not what they need. They need to improve what they got now and kind of go from there. So we'll see.
And start actually making stuff now. Like, I don't want to hear about how much money you're spending or what if you could do it, come up with something amazing, because I know WDI, they can very well do amazing stuff, right? Come up with your concepts and then give it the green light, get your budget, and then announce it at D23 or Destination 23.
And that's
like, hey, this is what we have.
And that's what's so frustrating, that I feel that the community is so hard on the Imagineers, because it's not the Imagineers' problem. It's not their fault that they have the chops, they have the charisma, they have the creativity, they have the ideas, they have everything lined up. They're just waiting for that check to be signed and cut.
Well, and we see the proof that they have the chops when you see what they do for the international parks. Like, look at the Arendelle area over there at Hong Kong. Look at the Zootopia stuff. Like, look at everything they do in Tokyo. Disney is from Imagineers too. I mean, they know what they're doing. This modern crop of Imagineers know what they are doing. They're just, for whatever reason, out here in the States, they're being throttled, and
All right.
that's a problem,
All right, OG and Mike. George and I came up with an idea for Tomorrowland here in Magic Kingdom, and I'm gonna throw the tagline to you, and then you guys just respond. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the new Tron movie comes out 2026, right? I think it's 2026. So this is the tagline. All right. Tomorrowland goes digital 2026, and it's a Tomorrowland retheme.
Okay.
That's the tagline. That's it. Just
great.
Marinate it over. What do you guys think of that? If Tomorrowland just went totally balls to the walls, Tron.
So when you're saying balls to the wall Tron, are you saying like Tron, like the aesthetics of Tron throughout the whole land?
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, like big moves. Like you take Tomorrowland Speedway and you turn it into like a light cycle training run, for kids using the track technology that they utilize in Rise of the Resistance. So you don't see a track; it's on a track. It's computerized. It's computerized to go a certain speed and things like that. But you have the light cycles there. Then you have like the disc game in the movie, right? You can make a ride utilizing that new floor technology that they just showcased, where when you walk, the floor is on bearings, like little ball bearings, and so it makes it feel like you're walking, right? But you're really not. It's just the floor moving underneath you. But they could have a disc game, or disc ride or disc attraction. What do you guys think about that? Like, just level the big buildings that are already there. Get rid of the people mover. Get rid of the Astro ride, just start fresh. I mean,
yeah. Oh, I'm for it. I think Disney needs to get bold with these Tomorrowlands, and I love the Tron aesthetics. I love that whole thing. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. What about you, Ebba? You be down for something like that?
For completely smashing down Tomorrowland, yeah, but I wouldn't want Tron itself to take over the entire land. And this is actually this here is actually going to get into the whole theme we discussed about with like aliens and stuff for like Tomorrowland, because I have thoughts about that. But pretty much my idea for Tomorrowland is like that. If you're going to have a future of tomorrow, I want them to go like thousands and thousands of years into the future, what that would look like then, and try to imagineer that technology now and put the stories into that. But no, absolutely, I would love to have Tron in Tomorrowland for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ebba is referencing, we're going to do a really cool video soon about aliens and like what superpower would you pick if you could have any superpower? It's going to be a really good video. We're going to get really deep and cerebral.
Yeah, we'll get really deep into that, because actually what inspired this whole topic was a conversation that I actually had with Slimer actually at Hollywood Studios. We had just finished lunch at Sci-Fi Dine-In, and we just sat and we were just people watching. We were just sitting on the bench. We were having a beer, and
were you contemplating there should be a place that kids and the adults can have fun together on a bench?
Yeah, of course. The crazy shit that would come out of our mouths when we have a beer, so it's like, so we got on to the subject matter of like, with extraterrestrial and, sightings like on Earth and cover-ups and, off government list agencies and type of stuff like that. So it was a very fascinating conversation we had, and it happened after the fact. Slimer left, and I was in the queue area for Cosmic Rewind, and Glenn Close's character, Irani Rayon, was talking about the Big Bang and everything, and I'm just like standing there and I'm listening to her, because I always hear the spiel when I go on Cosmic. But after having that conversation with Slimer, I was thinking, this is interesting, because can someone really come up with these kind of concepts just at the top of their head without any point of reference, without anything to go on? And I thought, is there a lot more that's going on that's tied to this type of topic that's used in Hollywood, that's used in cinema, with movies that we know and love today, like with Star Wars and Marvel and E.T. and like all those kind of great movies, and even Men in Black I brought up to Slimer. So it's going to be a fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
So definitely, when we release that, definitely check that out. It's going to be very different than what we're used to producing, but it's going to be an interesting topic to say.
Yeah, and then the superhero topic, actually, I got to give credit to Maybe for that, because we were talking about that, about a K-pop group that we like. One of the members, her superpower that she chose, or her choice of superpower, is actually very interesting. So we were kind of discussing that, and we're like, oh, you know what? That's a cool topic to add to the show as well. So we're gonna just make this like this really cerebral, like crazy show about superpowers and like aliens and stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Look for that in the next few days to a week or so. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But Kaylee here says hot Cheeto Puffs or hot Cheeto Crunchies. Ooh, now are the Crunchies like the small, like crunchier ones, and the Puffs are the big fatties, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Crunchies are the regular.
The Crunchies kind of look like if a snack had an STD.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, here's the thing, Kaylee. I'm more of a crunchy guy. I like the small little crunchy ones. I mean, I'll mess with either one. Hot Cheetos are amazing, and I'll do like the super spicy. I love spicy everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I like the crunchy ones. The Puffs kind of get a little too much like in my teeth and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that where you're at, Emma?
Yeah, it's like you said, right? I will do both, but it's always the crunchies because the Puffs, when you eat a lot of them, they get stuck up like in my gums and everything, dude. And then it's just like, oh, I get right. This doesn't feel good. But crunchies all the way for sure. I love crunchies, dude.
See, I love the Cheeto Puffs. It's like, because I mean, anyone who knows me, I'm a booty kind of guy. So it's like the Cheeto Puffs. It's just like the same thing. It's light and airy.
Yeah. So whenever you eat them, you just feel like you're eating booty.
There you go. You got
that booty like groceries, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like groceries. You got a little stuff on your chin, George. You know.
I'm not gonna lie, Kaylee. I'll let you in a little secret. You know those 5-gallon jugs of cheesy balls they sell at Walmart for like $6. The big ones. I mean, they're huge. I'll sit down and eat those in one sitting. I'm not gonna lie. When I start eating Puffs, I don't stop. It's a sickness.
Yeah, no, this stuff is addicting. It really is. It's really addicting. There's actually a really cool down the street from me. There's a really cool corn dog place. They take hot Cheetos, they crunch them up, and they roll the corn dog in hot Cheetos.
That sounds awesome,
dude. It's amazing.
And speaking of hot Cheetos, OG, I mean, you and I are big fans of the when we were at Oogie Boogie Bash with the mac and cheese cone.
Oh yeah,
at the cozy cone where they crunch the hot Cheetos on top. Oh yes. Man, that shit was like legit.
Dude, speaking of that was part of our trip. We tried to get Ebba one. Remember we were at DCA, right?
Yeah.
We were at Disneyland, the Plaza Inn.
We were at the Plaza Inn. Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't have a park hopper, so we're like, okay, we're gonna go. Well, George and I will go to DCA. We'll get one. We'll deliver it to you, right?
Yeah.
So George and I walked over there, but then they didn't have the spicy one.
Yeah, they didn't have the spicy one, so I guess they only had that seasonal for Halloween time or Oogie Boogie Bash. But we wanted Michael to at least experience, because he never had the mac and cheese cone in general. So we got him the regular bacon mac and cheese cone. And
what was the verdict, Ebba? Yeah, what were you feeling? Like it, love it, hate it?
No, it was really, really good, dude. And actually, know what? Too, I was actually surprised. It was still like warm when you guys brought it to me, because you guys had to walk over there, grab it, and then walk all the way back. Plus, it's cold and rainy. So when I was like, oh shit, this is still warm, nice. But no, it was really good. Like that mac and cheese, and was it bacon inside, right?
Bacon.
Yeah, it was really good mix. And then I remember after that we went to Autopia and just scooping all the way, bro. It was really good.
All the way. No, George and I, we hightailed it. We hightailed it back. Yep. We made some good time, and they didn't give us any trouble at the turnstile either. They were cool with it, So.
Yeah.
Now maybe here says I miss having my chat bestie over here. Ebba, you're a traitor.
Well,
you got to get back in the chat, Ebba. You gotta
I
get
know.
back in the chat.
Maybe you are hilarious, but yeah, like this is so awesome being here with everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I miss being in the chat with you guys. Talking all that crap, but I'm here now.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the cool thing. We get the best of both worlds with Ebba, right? We get him on screen, we get him in the chat sometimes. We get a lot of Ebba, which is great. More Ebba the better. More Ebba the better. Friend of the channel, Mr. C More Duck says spicy food. I agree with you, Mr. Duck. I love spicy food.
I am too. The spicier, the better. Like even like when it comes to pizza, and OG, I know you do it too. I put the red pepper flakes on my pizza.
Oh yeah,
it's like
Oh dude, you put sriracha on everything too. I mean, you're an animal,
Hey, so speaking of food, I wanted to ask George because we haven't talked about Animal Kingdom and Epcot yet. How was Yak and Yeti?
Yak and Yeti was really good. I ended up getting the. I posted a picture of it on Twitter. It was was it pork belly? It was like the spicy pork belly with like the stir-fried vegetables and rice topped with a fried egg. And it was on a specialty menu. So it was this dish isn't going to be there for very long, I believe. My host said that it was only going to be there till April. So I said, you know what, it's now or never, because I sometimes am an adventurous eater, but sometimes, like when I go to those kind of restaurants, I stick to what I know. And I thought, you know what, no, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more adventurous. And I tell you what, that pork belly was phenomenal.
Nice. And what did go ahead, brother?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and the best thing about Yak and Yetis is I never need a reservation ever again because I'm a Landry's member. So I was talking to I was talking to a someone who was waiting. She had reservations for her and her family, and I was ready to pull out my Landry's card to show her to say, hey, if you become a Landry's member, you don't ever have to worry about a reservation ever again. And as I'm pulling out the card out of my phone, she said, you know, the people I just can't stand, it's those Landry members that they just want to come in here thinking that they don't need a reservation. I'm like, well, card's going back in.
Dang.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but Yak and Yetis was really good. And then I also got what else did I? Oh, I always get the pan-seared pork pot stickers. That's
really
just
good.
like it's. I always have to get them no matter what.
How was your service there? Because we had a cast member named Yusuf over at goddamn, what was that place? Skipper's Canteen.
Skipper Canteen, yes.
Dude, Yusuf was awesome, man. He was one of the best servers I've ever had in Walt Disney World. I mean, not that Skipper's Canteen cast members are ever slacking. That you're going to get some of the best service in Walt Disney World over at Skipper's, but Yusuf was top notch. So I'm hoping that the guy or the server that you had for Yak and Yeti was just as good.
Yeah, he was really good. I've never had bad service at Yak and Yetis. Like with the Skipper Canteen. Not to call anybody out. I mean, I don't remember their name or anything, but I think you and I could both agree that we could have had someone a little bit more better at sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like she wasn't even listening.
Yeah,
she must have had something going on that day, or something that was a little bit more pertinent. But yeah, she was kind of checked out a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
so it happens. I loved Yak and Yeti. It was like a Adventureland P.F. Chang's, I guess. That kind of vibe. But I mean, it really was fantastic. I mean, in all seriousness, I loved the food. It's like that Asian fusion style, and like just amazing, absolutely amazing. It's probably one of my top Disney restaurants of all time, to be honest with you.
Oh wow!
I fell in love with this park. I love the Animal Kingdom so much. I'd be there all the time. if I was local. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was just amazing.
And that's just what's the frustrating part for me, because I do absolutely love that park. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's a completely different Disney park that you will never find anywhere else, nor will I ever think you would get ever again. It has such the potential to grow and expand. It has the land for it. It has 500 acres, for Christ's sake. It's like, do something with it. It's like, come on.
So what's your letter grade for Animal Kingdom? Because you have a point of reference. I mean, you freshly came off of Disneyland, DCA, then you came off of Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. You go into Animal Kingdom. I'm pretty sure your expectations were probably Animal Kingdom, I'm assuming, fell a little short of your expectations this time around.
It did, actually, believe it or not. I don't know what it was with this trip. It was like, not saying that it wasn't bad, but after like 4.5 hours, it was like, okay, I got my feel. I'm done, you know? Yeah. So I have to say, honestly, it was like about a C+ for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I did end up seeing It's Tough to Be a Bug, just in case, if by the time I get back there and it's not there anymore. I love that show. I know I'm probably the biased one, where it's like, because everyone says they get freaked out with the bugs, like trying to like crawl like up like around your back, up your butt, you know. It's like you got the you know, you get,
I mean at least they could buy you a drink first, right, George?
Right. Well, it's like afterwards it feels like I want to light up a cigarette. It's like
it's great.
But I love the animatronics. They have Flick like hanging down from like the ant hole, and then you have Hopper, which I mean at the time was like a phenomenal AA, you know, at the time. I mean, you could kind of see the wear and tear now, but I mean, again, I enjoyed the show. I love Zootopia. I just don't see how that's going to fit inside the Tree of Life.
It's weird.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I think that was a bad choice to do that, honestly.
I'm still holding out. I'm hoping they have a change of heart when it comes to replacing A Bug's Life, because it's such a good attraction. It's so good. There's just really no reason to replace that ride, like, ever. It can stay as a permanent staple of Animal Kingdom. I wouldn't be angry at all.
Yeah.
And also too, like, I also want to say, I really think in my opinion, Hopper is a very underrated villain. Like, I love Hopper.
Yeah,
he's great.
Oh yeah, I do too. And again, his death was like perfect. It's like, because you see this mother bird like hovering him over her 3 baby chicks, and you have to really think about this now. Now take this into perspective. Now I'm going to break this down for you. You have 1 grasshopper and you have 3 baby chicks. Now take that, do the math. So that means 1 gets the legs, the other gets the wings, the 1 gets the head. So basically he got decapitated. Oh yeah. Literally, like, in that moment, they just like ripped him to shreds. Yeah. You don't see it, but you know that's what happened. See, I love those gruesome Disney deaths. I'm sorry.
Me too, George. Me too, dude. Like, none of this, I got trapped in a mirror, or I went to some magical place. No, you died, dude. You got stabbed, it's like, you got crushed.
Yeah, you fell like down a cliff, like to your death. It's like like that, like, and he yells out like this blood curdling scream, and it's not like that. Oh, look at me, I'm trapped in a mirror. Oh.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, I love Maleficent's death. I think.
Good. So good. So Kaylee here says, maybe did you ever get your capybara?
Capybara.
I can never say that word. She says, no, I'm so sad. Don't remind me. But if Jenny ever releases her baby ones I sent to you, I'm buying them for you and OG. Now, capybaras are really cute. I don't know if you guys at home have ever seen them, but they're amazing. But Jenny from Blackpink's like obsessed with them. But the funny thing is that she actually has a song about capybaras that I will play for you right now, which is really catchy. Give me a second.
Capybara. Capybara, 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 capybara.
There you go. That's the official capybara song. It's a banger, Kaylee. It's a banger. But we will eventually get our capybaras. That's absolutely for certain. Michael Ebba, make sure you hit that like button for OG55. Absolutely. Thank you, Ebba. Appreciate that, brother. Absolutely.
OG, is that video your is that video your POV?
My POV. Yeah, right. Yeah, Jenny and I were FaceTiming. You know, every now and then she was singing me the Capybara song. It was great. It was great.
He needed a little bedtime song to help him.
Yeah.
It's like sing me that Capybara song one more time.
Yeah, exactly. Jenny, can you sing me the Capybara song? You know,
Let's play it on repeat.
Right? Exactly. And then Kaylee here says that Epcot is my number one fave Walt Disney World Park as well. Always has been. It's my happy place. Dude, Epcot is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And
George, let's talk about World Celebration. You saw Luminous too, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts on that.
Okay, so I gave my opinion on it when I got to watch it through the live stream when you were there for the premiere, and I had my thoughts on it, but then I didn't want to give a full on breakdown of it until I actually got to see it for myself in person, and I have to say it definitely exceeded my expectations in person. I do think they did a lot right within the show. It's definitely so much better than Harmonious.
Oh yeah.
But I guess for me too, I still think Illuminations holds a place near dear in my heart that is like just the center core of what Epcot stands for. Where I think nothing can really touch Illuminations for me. But Luminous, I will say, is a decent nighttime show for Epcot, and I hope it does stick around for a while, because to at least give people a chance to see it in person, I think it definitely does the park justice.
Epcot needs to have like one of the this show needs to stick. You know what I'm saying? There's been a little too much like turnaround with these shows lately for Epcot. We need one now to stick for at least 5 or 6 years. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe they could swap it out. But this one needs to stick, and it looks good. I mean, I've seen videos of it. I haven't seen it in person, but I think it looks really cool. I know fans complain about the IP and stuff, but it's the reality of the situation we're in now. I mean, that's what they're going to do. They're going to do IPs, and but it's a good show though. It is. It's solid. Jim T says Animal Kingdom was my favorite Walt Disney World park. Add a South America tropical land and a mythical animal land, not IP centered. What do you guys think about that? Like a South American.
So regarding like the last part of the question, I remember George, you had uploaded a video, right? I believe it was the entrance of Animal Kingdom, and it had like the elephant, and it had a dinosaur. I think it was a triceratops, I believe.
Yes.
And then you had a dragon. So you had 3 different entrances that represented the different type of animals. So I'm really curious about like what you think they should do. Like, should they bring back like the whole concept of the Beastly Kingdom, where you have all these mythical creatures that are part of that?
I'm very curious to see if they keep the entrance the way it is now, because what I find quite interesting is that they never took the dragon aspect out of it. It's in that welcoming sign of Animal Kingdom where you could see the dragon silhouette like in line with the other animals. They still have the dragon head that's up at the entrance sign where it says Animal Kingdom. So I wonder if they kind of left it there just for the hope that maybe down the road that they could still utilize dragons. There's a possibility being that, I mean, eventually, unfortunately, that the dinosaur aspect is probably going to go extinct, no pun intended. That, but I think that's very unfortunate too, because I feel like dinosaurs are such a strong type of format to utilize in especially in Animal Kingdom, and it's just a shame that Disney can't like get a grip on it.
Do you think
how it could be done really well?
Do you think Disney has sort of seeded dinosaurs because it's sort of like it's such a universal staple now with Jurassic Park, Jurassic
Park? Yes, absolutely. I feel like when they kind of utilized Jurassic Park and then moving into the up-to-date franchise with Jurassic World, it's like there's nothing more for it to go on from there. I mean, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, they're popular franchises. So when you think of dinos, a lot of people, resonate that with Universal, which is rightfully so, and I think Disney just kind of took the back end thinking that maybe the two movies about dinosaurs would become successful, but unfortunately they didn't. The 2000 movie Dinosaur, which the attraction was based off of after it became the start of a countdown to extinction, and then The Good Dinosaur from Pixar, and it just unfortunately it just never picked up. And I just think, you know, that unfortunately the time clock is ending for the dinos. But to answer the question,
how many extinction jokes are you gonna
so I think
oh man, that's funny.
you know, but I do think to repurpose like the AAs for dinosaur, you know, just like let the scales, you know, shed and like bring new light to it, you know. I mean, I do know that they were going to do Beastly Kingdom, you know, which eventually that became temporarily Camp Mini Mickey, which now is Pandora.
Yeah.
But yeah, now as far as the first part goes with the South America kind of tropical, I do love that. I think that they should really keep that concept. Whether or not that they want to add Indy to that equation or not. Obviously, Encanto is a very popular IP. I still think that would do much better in Magic Kingdom for the Beyond Big Thunder. I think if they wanted to do something with South America, I'm going to stick to my guns. I still think they should do Up. Up is set in Paradise Falls, which is in South America. If they wanted to add a house anyway, well, there you go. You have the Up house. It could be very subtle. And the characters are already utilized in the park.
Right.
They have Kevin walking around. They have the Russell and Doug meet up. They have the bird show that is inspired by Up. So there's a lot of influence of that movie in Animal Kingdom already. I just don't know why that they just wouldn't throw that IP alongside within South America.
Yeah.
So like, okay, so regarding the dinosaur aspect, right? Do you think maybe like part of the issue could be because a lot of dinosaur type of media is like more towards the violent side, and Disney isn't going to have any type of violence within their parks?
What do you think, Slimer?
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's just that dinosaurs are so synonymous with Jurassic Park now. Anything that Disney does that's dinosaur is gonna be in Jurassic Park's shadow, always and forever. You know, as long as Universal Studios, or as long as there are people that remember the Jurassic Park franchise and the IP, it's always going to be associated with dinosaurs. So I think they made a mistake by picking dinosaurs as one of the themes for that land to begin with. Knowing that, remember, this park was built in 1998, right?
Yep.
And so this was 5 years removed from the movie Jurassic World, and I think it was 1 year removed from Jurassic Park 2, because I think Jurassic Park 2 came out in 1997.
Correct.
Yeah, Jurassic Park came out in 1993. So they were banking on the popularity of dinosaurs. The only problem is that people didn't want Disney dinosaurs; they want Universal Studios dinosaurs, and that's exactly what we're seeing. That's why that land is not popular. But being that dinosaurs were, you know, animals at one point and they're extinct, it seemed obvious at the outset. The problem is, though, as we know now, and this is probably one of those hindsight is 2020 decisions. There's Jurassic Park is just too synonymous with dinosaurs. They have to get away from it as fast as possible. But then to answer your other question about mystical animals, that's what Pandora is. The Ekron is the new mystical animal. So what they really should do is that they should take the dragon at the front entrance and replace it with the head of an Ekron. So that way it's not, that way it's more co-aligned with what they have in the park versus, what your expectation might be coming in. If you see the dragon, you're probably going to expect the dragon. And then when it's not there, you're going to be like, hey, what about the dragon at the front gate?
Do you think that if they wanted to salvage somewhat of a dino aspect where they incorporate an IP around it, but they're not the main center focus. So sort of like incorporate them within Indiana Jones, where Indiana Jones is the
Archaeologist
star.
looking for
Yeah, like something like that. Maybe it takes him back in time where
like
he
like
does come across dinosaurs.
well, I mean, the Dial of Destiny. I mean, deals with time travel, so it would be easy to tie that in if they wanted to. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
they could. They could do something. They could definitely do something like that. I would like for them to at least keep the archaeological dig site. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's a good attraction for kids. You know,
But kind
Let 'em
of
burn
going
some
off
stuff.
what you were saying, Slimer, with like the Jurassic Park. I mean, I think when you look at those audio animatronics with the River Adventure at both Universal Hollywood and Universal Orlando, those audio animatronics blow the dinosaur audio animatronics at Animal Kingdom out of the water. Like, there's like no
Yeah.
comparison to those.
And those are old animatronics too that need regular upkeep, so that way they don't look like they're breaking down all the time. Oh, I rode Jurassic Park. What was it, last year? And the ride was pretty ragged. The animatronics were, that is. But then once you get to the Tyrannosaurus Rex, like, it's game over. I mean, there's the same you have the same exact experience in the dinosaur ride when you can have the better version over at Universal Studios with the actual T-Rex. So yeah, they just need to get away from dinosaurs altogether. But George, we were talking about Jungle Book. OG, the Finding Nemo show over there right outside of the Dinosaur Land, man, turn that into a Jungle Book attraction.
Oh,
It's in the same vein as Frozen, where everybody sings. It's hilarious.
Perfect. And the Jungle
Perfect.
Book live action, if Disney's worried, okay, is Jungle Book a viable IP right now? The Jungle Book live action, what was that, 2016, I think? I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
movie, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, either hit $1 billion or went very close to $1 billion worldwide. I mean, it did very well. So it's still a viable franchise. They should absolutely incorporate that into Animal
And
Kingdom.
we always have this conversation about anything that Disney puts in new,
Right.
it'll always be relevant to the fans. So they can come up with that argument of saying, well, the Jungle Book's not a hot topic right now. Guess what? If you do it, trust me, it will become one.
Yeah.
Well,
Especially if it's good.
Right, exactly. Well, Mr. Toad isn't exactly a hot property right now, and it does great business over at Disneyland. I mean, the lines are always really robust over there. People love that attraction, even though most people don't even know what movie it's from. So I think you're right. I mean, if you create a really decent experience, people will go. I mean, even Pandora. I mean, Avatar was like kind of written off. By the time Pandora opened, people were like written off the franchise. It was a film from 2009. Who cares about Avatar? No one cares about this franchise. And then the land opened, and it's like, okay, this is pretty awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I think it kind of like, if you do it right, you do it well enough, I think people will come. Absolutely. But Jungle Book would be a fantastic IP for that park. I would absolutely love that.
And especially when it showcases with animals. I mean, how could you not have Jungle Book in there? I know that it was a type of Jungle Book type of show that the park opened with. It was very short-lived, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to bring something back in that format. I mean,
Absolutely. Kaylee here says, what could make Hollywood Studios better is if they add a Toontown type land, but not a carbon copy of Disneyland. I also wish Mickey Minnie Runaway Railway had different show scenes between the two versions. Yeah, I was hoping for the different show scenes too. I was hoping for an Oswald show scene in our version, like a black and white Oswald scene. I think really, really cool. We didn't get it, obviously. But it'd be cool if Hollywood Studios had some version of Toontown. I mean, would you guys, George and Slimer, you guys are the Florida guys, would you be okay with that, or some version of that
I wish
idea?
that they would have done that, because then that way they would have had a permanent home for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and they wouldn't have had to touch my Great Movie Ride, which just completely downright pissed me off, So it's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably always be somewhat bitter with that, because the Great Movie Ride, as much as it was outdated, you could have done so much with that ride. You could have updated that thing and just kept it going for decades to come. And just to kind of throw Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in there, again, for the sake of saying, okay, yeah, we're putting in a new attraction, but again, we're replacing it with something. Where with Walt Disney World, that was the whole purpose of why Walt bought those at the time 47 square miles. The over 27,000 square acres of land. It was to have the blessing of size that he didn't get to have with Disneyland.
Right.
And they do not utilize it.
No. Well, I think the restrictions at Disneyland, the fact that we have less space, has forced creativity. You know what I'm saying? When you have to work within a confine, you get more creative with how you put things in there. I think in Florida, because you don't have that, it kind of breeds a little more of the laziness. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say, yeah. Here, they're forced to think outside the box.
Exactly. You're forced to think outside the box. The whole elevator scene in Haunted Mansion is because of that. They had to think of a way to get you under the berm, right? Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But Jason Hill here says Disney has made a new castle park once every decade. When the new CEO comes in, do you think they will build a new castle park? If so, where do you think they can build it? India, Australia, Brazil? Ebba, what do you think, man? If the new CEO comes in, he or she builds a castle park, where do they put this thing? Or should they not do it at all?
Well, here's the thing. I think they probably should. Probably not anytime soon. But for me, because I'm biased, right? Australia, because that's where my wife's from, Australia. So and then also too, right? Just recently, we just had those kind of limited time cruise lines that went over there to Australia and New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
So I and then also they a couple of years ago they opened up like the new the Disney shops for them as well. But I think having a castle park there would be really awesome for everybody there, because that way, they don't have to spend the thousands of dollars to fly to like either Disney Tokyo or California, and you have Australia and New Zealand and plus the islands, so you can get all those people to come to your Australian park.
That's excellent. And people don't really realize how big Australia is. I mean, it's like the size of the US. It's massive. I mean, that you could basically fit 2 Disney parks there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's nuts. And I think it's really cool because, like you said, I think it's is it the Disney Wonder that's over there right now?
I believe it's the Wonder right now. Yeah. I think it's doing the Australian, New Zealand cruises.
So it's kind of interesting because with the cruise lines, it kind of gives Disney a unique opportunity to sort of kind of beta test this stuff.
Right.
Like to see I think you kind of touched upon that, where it's like, is there an audience for Disney over there? So when you kind of do these cruises to these various countries, you can kind of see what kind of responses you get. Go ahead, George.
Well, and that's sort of what they're doing with the newer ship that Chapek had bought while he was CEO, the one that was 75% done, which is now going to become the Disney Adventure.
Right.
That's going to be over. I believe they said the contract was for 5 years. It's going to station out of Singapore because they said that there was a heavy market over there for not even just the cruise line, but for the Disney cruise line that they've been wanting for quite some time now. So for like a 5-year term, the Disney Adventure is going to station out of Singapore. So I do see where like Disney kind of utilizes, I think, like the cruise line to kind of get to see like how these different cultures take to Disney in that format, because I think it's so much easier for them to utilize the cruise because you can move it. If it doesn't work, you could say, fine, okay, we'll move it over here. Where before they make that final decision for a theme park and they plant those seeds and it becomes permanent land, that's where you have to be careful with. And that's where I feel like Universal has to be careful, because I feel like they're jumping the gun with a lot of locations too quickly, too fast. And so to actually the question as of right now, when it comes to theme parks with another castle park, I honestly wouldn't do it right now. Yeah. I think honestly they have enough parks that they have to deal with right now, and honestly, nothing against the international parks. I'm tired of hearing about them getting all the good shit and we're getting nothing.
Exactly.
It's like seriously, nothing against them, but it's like, why can't they get stuff but we get stuff too? Why are we the ones on the back burner?
Right. No, I agree with you. What about you, Slimer? Where are you at with that, brother?
Well, the other problem is they have to find a company that's going to manage their parks to the level that OLC is. And if there's, I don't know if there's any theme parks in Australia. I mean, Mike, you could probably tell us a little bit about that. But if they don't find a theme park management company, that's to the level of OLC, then that pretty much, I mean, that's a non-starter, and I think that's probably some of the issues they would run into with the countries that Jim labeled, like India. Brazil probably doesn't have, high quality theme park experiences, and therefore they don't have a good management team over there. So, at that point, do they have to export, theme park management, and then where are they going to get them from? Are they going to come from Disney World? Or are they going to come from Disneyland? Or are they going to have to?
Or they can outright own it, but then you have a huge risk involved because now you're like all in. It's 100% Disney.
Yeah, which I don't even think they'd get involved with that. You know what I mean? The cost to do that is it would be too astronomical. Hey, is Disneyland Paris managed by a third party company?
No, well, it used to be. It used to be owned by like a Saudi prince or something, I believe.
Yeah. And now they own full ownership, right, by the Walt Disney Company.
I don't think it's 100% full, but it's very close to full. I think it's like 90-something%. Yeah, they bought back a lot of it, but that was years later. You know what I'm saying? But when you're going into a new territory, like Simon was saying, you're going into a brand new market, you're probably going to want to partner with that. You probably wouldn't want to fit that entire bill, because if that thing flops, Yeah, and you're going to want to find a good match too. And they probably just don't have one. Yeah. Maybe here says the proposals will go crazy at Paradise Falls. Your idea, George, with Paradise Falls. And she's absolutely right. That would be insane. The amount of proposals in front of that thing would be nuts. Absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's actually a really great idea, maybe, because you could then play the Michael Giacchino score from it. Like you get like the Carl and Ellie type of music, and oh man.
I'm telling you.
It's like,
I'm telling you, it's perfect.
Hey, OG, I don't know if you want to share or not, but I just sent you a link to an article about Disneyland Australia. So
perfect. You sent it to my DM, my Twitter?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Let me go ahead and grab it. Give me 1 second.
Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can resend it.
No worries, I got it. I can do it this way.
Okay.
I got you, bro. Let's see here. Go ahead and take off my capybara. There we go. We got this one. Okay. Australia could be getting its own Disneyland city identified. Oh, that's interesting. This is from actually not too long ago. This is from August.
Wow.
This is from August. Disneyland could be coming down under in what will be a final piece in the puzzle of officially making this city the happiest place on earth. So I guess there was a rumor that they were going to go into Australia. Is that what we're looking at here, Ebba?
Yeah, so pretty much like right here, like the mayor of the city of Melbourne was like she supports the idea of having a Disney park in Melbourne.
Well, I mean, look, Australia, it's a beautiful country, and I mean, if they're gonna go anywhere, I think that's kind of like the smartest move. I think right now, I can't really think of anywhere else. You already have two parks.
If I had a guess, and I could be wrong. If they are really going to look at another location for another castle park to kind of start off another whole resort, I'm going to lean more towards Brazil. And the reason why is because D23 is going to hold a separate event of an expo style in Brazil. Well,
and okay, there's a couple things happening with that, right? Either they know Brazil is heavily Disney, like that market is pro Disney, and that's why they're doing the D23 Expo there. Or there's signs of it, and they're doing the expo there to see what kind of response they get, maybe, to kind of like test the waters. But either way, you're right, though, George. Like, why Brazil? Like, isn't that interesting? Unless there's an announcement that they're making that ties into Brazil, which is possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's fascinating. Mr. Seymour Duck here says Disney Parks in Niagara Falls. Rumor had it Disney World was nearly built in Niagara Falls. I did not know that. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
That's fascinating. That is really, really interesting. Jason Hill says, George, I'm with you. I think Disney World gets a lot of Brazilian visitors. That's a good point.
That's true.
The tourism from Brazil is pretty robust. So that might be why. That might be your answer right there, George. As to why they're doing the expo over there is they're seeing the numbers from Brazil into Disney World and thinking, hey, there's a market here. They're coming all the way over there. But now here's a question: does that hurt Walt Disney World then?
In a way, yes, because that's what's going to happen with Universal with the UK, because they get a lot of the UK visitors down in Universal Orlando.
Right.
So is that going to stop them, to discourage them from traveling when they have it in their own country?
That'd be terrible for Walt Disney World, in my opinion.
But I think that could be the case for any park, though, right? If you put any new park anywhere, that you're going to discourage that visitor from that certain area to not visit the other park,
right?
Because they already have one.
I think it depends, though. I think it depends on where you put it, because we have a lot of tourists from South America and Central America, because the United States is like their vacation destination. But if you put a Disney World in, like, let's say, I don't know, when you put a Disney World in India, for example, we don't get a lot of people from India coming to the United States for tourist purposes, whether it's Universal Studios or Disney World or Busch Gardens, for that matter.
Yep. Okay, we'll take one more, and then we're gonna head out to my 2 hour and 29-minute crew. I want to thank everybody sticking out with us today. I mean, really, really awesome hanging out with everybody again. But we'll do one more, and then we'll head out because we got a couple East Coasters here. It's getting late over there. Mike here says, I know Disney probably wouldn't want to park in northern U.S. or Canada because of the climate. There's a reason the Northeast parks are seasonal. There's a benefit, though, a lot of time for repairs. Yeah, but they did build a park in Paris, and Paris gets some pretty cold weather. Disney, they get snow and all kinds of icy weather over there. So who knows,
And then really quick, Jim T says, more Europeans may go to the UK before going over the pond.
Yeah.
See, that's where it's like,
right.
Yeah, like, I guess maybe, yeah, I could still understand where it might be detrimental more towards Universal than Disney, because of that notion that they actually have to fly over, where at least with South America and Brazil, they could still, if they want to go to their home park, so to speak, or if they still wanted to, travel up north, into Florida, they still can,
Yeah. We'll see, and that's where it's Australia. They're their own island as well. So to go anywhere, they have to fly all the time.
Right. That's a good point. No matter where they go, they're flying.
Yeah.
Great point, gentlemen. It is always an honor talking shop with you guys and everyone in the chat. I want to thank everybody who joined us today: Jim T, Kaylee, Mike, Jason Hill, maybe Mr. C, Moore, Duck, Mr. Matthew Murr. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Lord Jonathan. Let me see here. Give me 1 minute. We have the Dot Adventures, Cliffix, Bad Thought Studio, Kiki and Luca, Teo. Just thank you everybody for joining us today. Always a good time to talk shop with everybody and nerd out with you. We will definitely do another live show very, very soon. The Italiano, it is really good having you back, brother. We did miss you. You went on that world tour. He went on the Italiano world tour. He got back a little sick, so it's been like 2.5 weeks, no Italiano. So it's good to see you back, brother. It really is.
Bro. I really appreciate it. Glad to be back in the saddle, so to speak. Glad to be joining you all again with these great conversations with our live shows, our pre-recorded shows, and everything in between. So I'm looking forward to many more to come, and we have a stacked schedule coming up. We got some. As soon as I came back on, it's like it went from one show to 5.
we literally have something every day this week. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming out in the pipeline. Now our friend Jason Hill says, "Great show, guys." Well, thank you, Jason. Appreciate you, brother. It says here, in honor of George's trip to Cali, give us the Carl's Jr. drop. So
Yes.
We will definitely do the Carl's Jr. drop. And again, Seymour Duck is actually going to be joining us on the earnings call day, because we're going to be breaking down those numbers. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be breaking down those numbers, talking about how good Disney did, how bad they did, all that good stuff. I think it's going to be an interesting earnings call, actually. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see how it does. this how it did this last quarter. I want to really look at those Walt Disney World numbers, you know. So we'll see, and then maybe welcome back, George, the
Yes.
Italiana. Welcome back.
Thank you, maybe.
Absolutely. So okay, so we're gonna end with the Carl's Jr. drop. Jason Hill requested, so we'll end with Carl's Jr. And yeah, everybody, thank you so much for watching OG55 live.
세상은 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.